Quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions.
It's back, Sacramento. Fox Sports Radio and Elk Grove Chevrolet are proud to present Capitol Beer Fest Saturday, March 7th at the Capitol Mall. Join us for a day of sampling God's nectar from over 70 great brewers, plus music and food, and at the Fox Sports Elk Grove Chevy Lounge, get a great cigar and meet Grant Napear. Most important, of course, 100% of Beer Fest Pro benefits Runnin' for Rhett Youth Fitness. Get your Beer Fest group together and get your tickets now at CapitalBeerFest.com. That's Capital with an O, BeerFest.com. CapitalBeerFest.com.
You've been saying you're going to pay better attention to your home's honeydews. Check one off your list right now by calling Gabrud Services to schedule a 12-point inspection of your home's electrical system. The safe rule of thumb is every 5 years for an inspection. If it's been 5 years or more, call Gabrud's now. A qualified technician will provide a thorough inspection of the electrical system to ensure it's safe or alert you to potential problems. At Gabrud's, electrical work is all we do. We are the area's recognized experts for anything electrical, and our number one priority is ensuring your home and family are safe. You've been saying you'll pay better attention to your home. Stop saying it. Make the call to Gabrud's. Talk with a real person and schedule your 12-point inspection today. Gabrud's, locally owned for more than 30 years. G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabrud's. G-U-B-R-U-D-S. Gabrud's.com.
It's the All Things Legal Show, heard every Saturday morning from 8 to 9. Join your host, Craig Ashton, with an entertaining and eclectic view of all things legal. Saturday mornings from 8 to 9. Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Just outside of Sacramento is a place where families build friendships that last a lifetime. The Golden State Shooting Center is a clay target shooting facility. It's the home of numerous local high school and youth sport shooting teams. Skeet and trap shooting is a safe, exhilarating sport. School team members can compete for numerous college scholarship opportunities. Teams are being formed now, and new members are welcome. Call the Golden State Shooting Center for details or visit them online at goldenstateshootingcenter.com.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
The Grant Napear Show.
My show begins at 3 o'clock, 104.7 FM, 890 AM. Download the Fox Sports KSAC app.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, music gets drunk. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Grant's back. Join the conversation every weekday afternoon beginning at 3 p.m. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento. Hello, Sacramento. Sacktown. And welcome in
Grant Napear.
How you been? You know this guy.
It's your show.
So happy to hear you on the airwaves.
2+ decades on the radio with you.
Just the start of an incredible journey.
Now he's back on Fox Sports 104.7 FM and 890 AM.
3 to 6 every day, Fox Sports Sacramento.
The phone number?
916-779-0929.
His name? Grant Napear. Good afternoon, everybody. How are you today? Really excited in hour number one, George McPhee, the president of hockey operations for the Vegas Golden Knights. They had 9 players, 9 in the Olympics, 5 in the gold medal game. So I want to talk to George about the recent Olympics and a couple of other nuggets, such as Alex Ovechkin, who George drafted when he was the general manager of the Washington Capitals. That's coming up in about 30 minutes or so. The Knights just landed in Washington, D.C. as they start an East Coast road trip tomorrow against OV and the Capitals. He'll be coming on here in about 30 minutes. All right, so speaking of hockey, and I'll get to the Kings, but you know what? I can't depress myself, and I can't depress you by having to talk about the Kings at the start of a radio show, because there's really nothing good to talk about. So, I'm going to be positive today as long as I can. I'm going to see how long I can go before I'm negative. I don't want to be, negative Napear right off the start at 3 o'clock on a Thursday. I think I owe you more than that, all right? Come on, Napes. Let's go. Let's be positive here. Did you see what happened last night in New Jersey? Wow. So, Jack Hughes, think about this. Sunday in Milan, scores the game-winning goal, the golden goal for Team USA in Milan. Monday, he's in Miami with the rest of the team at a nightclub having a good old time. Then on Tuesday night, he's in D.C. with the president. He's at the State of the Union address. And then last night, he's playing for the Devils. Not only did he play for the Devils, of all wingers and centermen, he played the most. He had the most time on the ice than anybody else on the squad. That is unbelievable. What was also just incredible, and we don't talk about this enough, we don't talk about the good things in sports enough. We're always harping on the negative, right? Jack Hughes, who I would say 99% of the American sports fan had never heard of before. I mean, you got to be a pretty diehard hockey fan and be watching the New Jersey Devils to know who Jack Hughes is. Let's just call it the way it is. So Jack Hughes went from being, you never heard of him before, to like the hero with the golden goal for Team USA in men's hockey. So what happens last night? They honor him as you would expect. And he skates onto the ice to a standing ovation. And then he is given the microphone. And this is what he says to the sold-out crowd, which, by the way, after he scored the winning goal, tickets for the game last night against Buffalo went up 49% for the game last night. Here's how he addressed the crowd.
I'm so proud and I'm so happy that the men's and women's USA hockey teams brought gold medals back to the United States of America. And you guys are making me emotional, but I'm so proud to represent the New Jersey Devils organization. And I'm so proud to represent the great state of New Jersey. So proud. From the bottom of my heart, all my teammates, USA teammates, we just want to thank you guys for all the love and the support. We feel it. Thank you.
So what does he do next? He goes over to the Buffalo Sabres bench, their opponent last night, and he calls out Gage Thompson, number 72 for the Sabres, to come and be acknowledged on the ice with him. Amazing sportsmanship, just a class move. And so here's Thompson, a visiting player, also getting a standing ovation in New Jersey alongside Jack Hughes. That is about as classy as it gets. This is what Thompson said after the game.
That was I wasn't expecting that. Very special. He's a class act. He cares about his teammates, cares about his country, his team, and obviously he scores the overtime winner, and that's supposed to be a moment for just him, and for him to include me in that was really special. And definitely appreciated
Did
that.
it feel a little awkward at the beginning?
No, I mean, I think we battled through something together, and we're going to be able to share that moment for the rest of our lives. We're going to be linked forever, and with all those guys, and it's a very cool experience, a very cool honor that New Jersey did for him, and I thought he handled it really well, and nothing but a class act.
He is a class act. I mean, the way he handled himself in the Olympics after they won the gold medal, his patriotism, playing for Team USA, what that meant to him. By the way, a lot of people may not know this. It was, I think, 6 years ago, or 6 to 8 years ago, I think it was. He was the number one pick for the New York Yankees. He was a heck of a baseball player. And he was somebody that, grew up, obviously, in that part of the country, wanted to be on Team USA with the other Olympians. And I say wanted to because, and I'm going to talk to George McPhee about this coming up at the bottom of the hour, the president of hockey operations for Vegas. I mean, think about what it was like for George watching this with 9 players participating, and they're in first place. And you don't want to see any injuries. So there's that aspect of it. We'll talk to George about that in just a little bit. But I'm talking about this because last night, and in my opinion, what we saw from both the women's and men's hockey teams in Milan is everything that is right about sports. And it was pure. And it's, to me, what the Olympics are all about, without all of the nonsense and the sensitivity that is in this country now, which is mind-boggling to me. It's not good enough to just win the gold medal and represent the team and the country and acknowledge how proud you are to put on that sweater that says USA. Oh, no, no, no. You've got to bring everyone down now if it doesn't align with your political viewpoint and who's in the White House and who's not. And that is so sad. And you know me, I don't talk politics on this show. All right? I don't talk politics on this show unless it intersects, all right, with what is going on the field, on the court, on the ice. Sometimes it's unavoidable. Sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes you can't just gloss over it. And I think that Jack Hughes and the Olympic hockey teams, and we'll just stick to them right now, they're everything that's good about sports. Think about this. Jack Hughes, Sunday Milan, Monday Miami, partying all night. Yesterday at the White House, the State of the Union address, not yesterday, Tuesday. Last night, playing hockey and playing the most of any frontline player on the Devils with ice time. Bringing out a player on the opposing team to get recognition. He's everything that is good about sports. He's a guy that we should celebrate. He's a guy that we should put on a pedestal. He's a guy that if you were a mom or a dad or a grandma or a grandpa or whatever the case may be, and you had children or grandchildren, he's a guy that you would be proud to go out and get his jersey for a holiday gift, birthday, whatever the case may be. I remember when my kids were growing up, and my oldest son in particular, he was in love with Derek Jeter. I'm like, hey, I'll be more than happy to get you a number 2 jersey. I'm honored. I'm like, wow. Yeah. Yeah. You want to look out? You want to be a guy that is a role model? And again, I don't know much about Jack Hughes, obviously. Now everyone knows just about everything about him and his brother and his family and his sister. But he's everything that's right about sports. He's the good. He's a guy that you can get behind. And think about the ticket sales in New Jersey after he scored the game winner to win the gold medal. They had an increase of 49.5% in ticket sales right after the game, for the game last night. You know why? Because fans wanted to be there And they wanted to personally thank him and congratulate him with a standing ovation. Because he's somebody that you can get behind. He's somebody that you can root for. And his active sportsmanship, which we don't see enough now, was on full display when he brought Gage Thompson out to the ice. So that is the good part of sports. When we come back, I'm going to tell you the bad part about sports and the part that is actually pushing people away from the sports table. It is destroying the true fabric and the essence of sport. And we need to stop the tidal wave. We need to figure out a way to turn the tide, because it's quite frankly alarming and it's not good at all. It is not good. There's no other way to say it. It is not good, in my opinion. The negativity, the bringing down of people, it's not good. I'll tell you what is good. Village Financial Group, Spencer Grimmenstein, so experienced as a broker owner in the real estate market of Village Financial Group, locally owned since 2000, somebody that I can vouch for because I've known him since 2000. If you're in the market in 2026, you're going to buy a home, sell a home, whatever the case may be with real estate, Spence is your guy. I'm telling you, folks, he's awesome. He really is. And I love talking about him because I know he's going to do a great job for you. Give him a call or text him at 916-805-4868. That's 916-805-4868. Or you can go and get the information on their website and check out their thousands of listings available for purchase at vfgloans.com. That's vfgloans.com. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. Jack Hughes, yeah, the U.S. hockey teams, that's what's good about sports. I'll tell you what's bad when we come back right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
You've been saying you're going to pay better attention to your home's honeydews. Check one off your list right now by calling Gabrud Services to schedule a 12-point inspection of your home's electrical system. The safe rule of thumb is every 5 years for an inspection. If it's been 5 years or more, call Gabrud's now. A qualified technician will provide a thorough inspection of the electrical system to ensure it's safe or alert you to potential problems. At Gabrud's, electrical work is all we do. We are the area's recognized experts for anything electrical, and our number one priority is ensuring your home and family are safe. You've been saying you'll pay better attention to your home. Stop saying it. Make the call to Gabrud's. Talk with a real person and schedule your 12-point inspection today. Gabrud's, locally owned for more than 30 years. Gubrud's.
Call the good dudes at Gabrud's. Gubrud's. Gabrud's.com.
Okay, we are running a car drive right now to help veterans all across America. So if you have an old car, truck, or van, even a motorcycle or an RV sitting around, you can right now give it away and help the vets. They really need your help. And your car will help support the vets and their families. And guess what? You even get a tax donation. Plus, we'll even come and pick up your car for free. And all you've got to do is pick up your phone right now and make a free call. Now is the perfect time to do something good for the vets. Give back to the vets right now for all they've done for this country. And your old car can really help them. So call the Veterans Car Donation Program right now for free pickup of your vehicle. Help the vets and help your taxes at the same time. Call right now.
800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. That's 800-598-0539.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Don't forget George McPhee, president of hockey operations for Vegas. 15 minutes up to this text message before the second part of my opening here. Grant, I know you don't talk politics, but it seems like the media is trying to get the U.S. hockey team in a big gotcha moment and trying to get them to say something they might regret in the aftermath of visiting the White House. And that gets me to the bad of sports. And let me set this up for you. So Austin Matthews is the captain for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He was on the U.S. team, all right? He's U.S. born, U.S. player, and fulfilled his dream of winning a gold medal in Milan. And he's done everything that he can in terms of exhibiting himself in a perfect way for the Toronto Maple Leafs, who, by the way, have been one of the most disappointing franchises over the last 6 decades or so in the National Hockey League. So there is a columnist, all right, in Toronto, longtime columnist, and the individual's name is Damian Cox from the Toronto Star. He just ripped Matthews a new shred because Matthews doesn't line up with how he feels politically. I want to read 2 of these paragraphs because I just couldn't believe this. Matthews apparently is blissfully unaware many athletes and teams have declined invitations from the Trump administration. The entire U.S. women's hockey team possibly insulted by the fact Trump seemed to think putting their gold medal on the same level as the men's was a joke, said thanks but no thanks. More to the point for Leafs fans and Canadians, Matthews displayed a complete lack of understanding for the responsibilities, hockey and non-hockey, he accepted as captain of English Canada's most famous NHL franchise. Really? So you're telling me that Austin Matthews, an American who just had one of the greatest moments in his sports career, can't be honored in the country that he lives in, at the biggest place of government, the White House, because you, as a columnist, don't like the administration in Washington, D.C., so you want to take it out on Matthews for being with his teammates? I mean, seriously? And then he went on and said this in a story. This is unbelievable. And again, this is Austin Matthews, the captain of the Maple Leafs. And then he attacks his resume as a player. He writes, Matthews was already widely perceived as a player who wouldn't go through the wall for the team that helped make him a superstar. Now being captain of the team comes second to smiling for the cameras with a U.S. president who has successfully taken steps to injure the very same Canadian money where Matthews earns his massive salary. You got to be kidding me. You're telling me that being captain of the team comes second to smiling for the cameras with a U.S. president? Are you serious? Why would you say that? Would you think Austin Matthews feels that way? I mean, give me a break. And then he ends his, I'm not even going to read the whole thing, but he says this, okay? He starts off by saying, of course, Matthews is free to be a proud American, but it's also not too much to expect him to proudly represent the Leafs and be supportive of Canada. It's just not that hard. Matt Sundin always did it, even when playing for his native Sweden. But number 34 made his choice. We may well one day look back at this as the day when the Matthews era officially ended in Toronto. You got to be kidding me. Seriously. Come on. By him winning a gold medal for Team USA? And because he's the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs, he can't go and celebrate and be in the White House? I don't know about you. I wouldn't care who the president is. If I ever get invited to go to the White House, I'm not passing it up. I got invited to go on Air Force One. And I didn't say to myself when I talked to my wife about going on Air Force One, I didn't say, gee, should we go? We're not really in line with the president, or we love this president. Like, that never even entered my mind. I'm like, and we were allowed to take our kids? I'm like, yes, we're going. I didn't sit there and go, boy, I'm going to have pictures outside of the presidential seal on the tarmac, outside of Air Force One before we walk on the plane. Gee, I wonder what my audience is going to think about that. All right? Seriously. Incredible.
Grant, the reporter is doing that to be part of the attention that's around this.
It's irresponsible.
They're putting their credibility at risk to be getting more traction on the story.
It's irresponsible, in my opinion. You're going to tear down the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs because he celebrated winning a gold medal with his teammates at the White House? Are you kidding me? Like, can you believe that? What kind of society are we living in North America? All right? Can we just for freaking 5 minutes keep the damn politics out of sports?
Seriously.
It's awful. It's just despicable. It is an absolute disgrace. And I'll tell you right now, if Austin Matthews gets booed at the home game coming up in a couple of nights, that columnist should be ashamed of himself. All right, this is a captain of the team. The Toronto Maple Leafs have been terrible for decades. They sell out every game. I'm telling you, if you go to Toronto, you can't believe the love for that hockey team up there. It's unbelievable. It's where the Hockey Hall of Fame is, okay? Like, Toronto is hockey in Canada. And because he's got the C on his sweater, he can't go celebrate and be honored at the White House? Seriously? I mean, how sad is that? That's what's wrong. Well, here's a 209. The reporter is a perfect example of what's wrong with journalism today. Total BS. It is.
Yep.
It is what's wrong. And you know what? It's what's wrong with society. And it's our biggest problem in America. If I may just keep it to this country now. It's the biggest problem. I mean, every single thing is completely torn apart. Mountains are made out of molehills. Can we just not enjoy the outstanding performance of our women's and men's hockey teams? Can we not just acknowledge that the hockey players were genuinely thrilled and they, in a span of 48 hours, had two of the greatest moments of their lives, winning a gold medal and then being in the Oval Office? How many people get a chance to go to the Oval Office with the history in that building? Are you kidding me? I mean, can you imagine standing in the Oval Office? How unbelievable power. That would be like, can you imagine getting your picture taken in the Oval Office? I can't even imagine. Seriously.
No. Look, sports were always something that united. And unfortunately, you have now the streak that's starting to crack in between the middle of it.
Shame on Damian Cox of the Toronto Star. He should be embarrassed. And you know what? I'll tell you who should be booed at the next game. He should be booed. That's who should be booed.
No doubt.
It's just awful. Don't forget George McPhee in a couple of moments, the president of hockey operations for the Vegas Golden Knights. And to be transparent, one of my very best friends, college, Bowling Green, Hobie Baker Award winner, and one of the best fighters of his generation, Rhino, as you know, when you watched his video on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared giving him a call. I don't want to catch one through the phone. Holy moly. You imagine what George McPhee could do in the UFC back in the day?
Oh, boy, I'm going to tell you.
The UFC was around?
Went to law school after his hockey days. Was always studying. Was just he's had an incredible career. He's going to be coming on next. I want to tell you about DAS Mechanical and what they're doing right now. Talk about charity. Talk about doing a good deed. Nick Delancey, the owner of DAS Mechanical, he's going to be giving away a heating or air conditioning unit to you or someone you know or a veteran, all right, a family in need. And all you need to do is go to dasmechanical.org, and at the very top of the page of dasmechanical.org, you'll see where to click, all right, the 2026 nomination form that you will fill out. Take a minute and put your own name down there or somebody in need that you know, or veteran, and a heating or air conditioning unit with installation will be going to them thanks to Nick at DAS Mechanical. Locally owned, family owned, serving Sacramento with outstanding service when it comes to your HVAC needs. He's awesome. DAS Mechanical is awesome. Register now. Nominate yourself or somebody else at dasmechanical.org. George McPhee, he's coming up next right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
It's Truck Month at Downtown Ford Sacramento. If you've dreamed of a new Ford truck, we've got great news. While they last, qualified Ford truck customers can take home a still brand new 2025 F-150 or a 2025 Super Duty XL at 0% APR, 0 down, and 0 payments for 90 days, plus $1,000 in Ford retail bonus cash on select still brand new 2025 Ford trucks. Some restrictions apply, so visit downtownfordsacramento.com for details.
Okay, we are running a car drive right now to help veterans all across America. So if you have an old car, truck, or van, even a motorcycle or an RV sitting around, you can right now give it away and help the vets. They really need your help. And your car will help support the vets and their families. And guess what? You even get a tax donation. Plus, we'll even come and pick up your car for free. And all you've got to do is pick up your phone right now and make a free call. Now is the perfect time to do something good for the vets. Give back to the vets right now for all they've done for this country. And your old car can really help them. So call the Veterans Car Donation Program right now for free pickup of your vehicle. Help the vets and help your taxes at the same time. Call right now.
800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. That's 800-598-0539.
Investors, keep listening to learn how to get your free gold report. A currency crisis is upon us. The U.S. dollar has been the world's reserve currency for over 50 years, but that is changing. It's time to protect your retirement. Decades of reckless borrowing and spending have critically weakened the dollar. The U.S. has become the world's biggest debtor with over $35 trillion in debt. Plus, the dollar's become weaponized. Countries are dumping it. Investors who wait until it's too late could lose big. There is one safe haven: gold. Diversify your portfolio with a physical asset they can't take away. Call the Reagan Gold Group right now and ask for your free gold guide. Here's our number.
800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. That's 800-941-4184.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey, boy, what a great day here in Sacramento weather-wise. And it has been a great week for the sport of hockey, and I think the National Hockey League in general. We're going to talk about that right now with the president of hockey operations for the Vegas Golden Knights. It is so awesome to welcome the one and only George McPhee to my radio show. Georgie, how are you?
Doing great, Grant. How are you?
I'm doing good. Welcome to Washington, D.C. As right after the All-Star break, they put Vegas on the West Coast. I mean, they're on the West Coast, but they had play in L.A. last night. And then, get on a plane and fly all the way across the country. That's pro sports, right?
Yeah. And it's why we had to, let our players catch up and did not dress our 5 Olympic finalists last night. They just it would have been too much for them, in our opinion.
Sure.
And you've got to let them recover a little bit. And fortunately, we won the game last night, and they've now recovered. And we'll see what happens tomorrow night.
George, you had 9 players in the Olympics, 5 in the gold medal game. I would think you were in a very small company, you and the rest of the general managers in the league, presidents and coaches that were watching, just going, please, no injuries. I mean, could you talk about that perspective from your role with this team who's in first place currently?
Well, we all understand that players are going to get hurt in this sport. It's we deal with it all the time. And so players are going to get hurt in preseason games or regular season games or playoffs or the Olympics, special tournaments, world championships, and so on. You live with it. And there's no other way to sort of explain it. It's part of what we go through. And you hope you come out of it lucky, and we did in terms of the Olympics. We didn't have injuries. So we did have one in the Four Nations last year. One of our top defensemen broke his wrist about 15 seconds into the game, and we lost him for 6 weeks. So that's the way it goes.
George, so many people are talking about what the women's and men's team accomplished in hockey, and so many people right now that don't normally talk about hockey are talking about the sport, but yet you've had to shut down shop for 4 weeks in the middle of the season. Are there any negatives to what we just witnessed with the sport of hockey in the Olympics?
Well, not when you have a result like this, but it's not easy to shut your business down in North America for 3 weeks. But the players really want to play in the Olympics, and so the league has accommodated them and worked out a deal with the Players Association so they can. And so they play in it. And, the players think from a player's perspective, they want to be in that kind of competition. They want to play internationally. They want to play for their country. Those of us in management and ownership think about it in a different way, and how does this affect our business? And I mentioned before the Olympics on radio that it only really works, the reason we're playing is to try and grow the game. And we're only going to grow the game if the U.S. gets into a final and wins a gold medal. I don't think it's going to make a difference if Canada gets there, because Canada is maxed out and a very, very popular game in Canada, and they will continue to grow. And I don't think it really matters if teams like Sweden or Finland or Germany win. Yeah, it's going to help in that those countries, but we wanted to really grow in North America. And for years, the biggest rivals for Canada was Russia. It's now the USA, because the USA has had staggering growth in the number of boys and girls playing hockey. And it's a tremendous resource for the NHL right now.
George McPhee, the president of hockey operations for the Vegas Golden Knights. You being Canadian, we know about the reaction in this country. Can you put into perspective what this defeat meant for the people of Canada and how hard this week must be for them, and watching that overtime? Can you put that into perspective for us?
Yeah, well, I personally was really conflicted watching the game, but It's in Canada. It's gold. They are expected to win the gold. Canada has a very, very high standard. They believe that their players are the greatest players in the world, and a lot of them are. But it just doesn't. It's an expectation, and the players they're not happy winning a silver medal. They're just not, and it feels like a failure when you don't win the gold. And it was amazing, really, how exceptional that game was. I don't think I've ever seen a game as entertaining. I don't think I've ever seen hockey played at this pace, at that kind of execution, at that kind of intensity, with that kind of coaching. It was exceptional hockey. And Canada, in the final, I thought played a better game than the U.S. did. But the difference can sometimes be the goaltending, and it was in this game. Even though the Canadian goaltender played great, the U.S. goaltender played even better.
Yeah.
And he's no secret. He's won 3 consecutive Vezina trophies. He's very, very good. And he stood on his head and delivered a performance that allowed the U.S. to win. And I really liked the way the game was played. Canada played 2 games in the quarterfinal and the semifinal where they were playing countries that didn't have the firepower they did. So they played that sit back, prevent sort of hockey where you've got 5 guys back all the time. And that is a grind. And it's not that much fun to watch. But when you get into the final and both teams, Canada and the U.S., play a pressure game all over the ice. They're going to forecheck. They're going to pressure you in the neutral zone. They're going to pressure you in your own zone. They're going to pressure you when you kill penalties. They're going to come at you with size, physicality, speed. Both of those teams really went at it, and it turned out to be just an extraordinary game and a great result for the U.S. And the women's game was just as compelling. It really was. That was really something.
George, it's kind of ironic that I'm talking to you right now in Washington, D.C., a place that you were so successful, 7 division titles, an Eastern Conference title, a trip to the Stanley Cup. And if I can take you back to 2004, you drafted one of the great players in the history of the game, Alex Ovechkin, who at age 40 will be on the ice tomorrow against your Golden Knights. 2 things that I've never asked you this before. Evgeny Malkin and Alex Ovechkin were clearly the top 2 guys available in that draft. Was OV head and shoulders above Malkin? Was there ever any consideration to not taking OV? And what do you remember the most from your visit to Russia when you first met OV and his family?
Well, I would say that you have to go in open-minded. We whittled it down. We had the first overall pick. Who's the better player, Ovechkin or Malkin? And we were faced with going the traditional route and trying to get an elite center. Because typically when you put a team together, if you've got your quarterback on defense and you've got a couple of elite centers, you've got good goaltending, the rest of it's pretty easy to fill in. You get a power forward, and that's the foundation. And Malkin was a center. Ovechkin, however, was a really unique player. Never seen anything like it. His size and strength. He played, he's 6'3", plays at about 235, and could score goals like nobody else could. And was the most, physical player you've ever seen with that kind of ability. There's Gordie Howe, maybe Eric Lindros, but really nobody like Ovechkin because he hit all the time and was rarely ever injured. So we went for Ovechkin because we just thought that he was so unique and would be someone that brings people out of their seats in Washington. and geez, he's done it for 20 something years now, and the greatest goal scorer in the history of the game. My first meeting with him, I went over. He was playing at the World Championships someplace. I can't remember the country, but I went over because I wanted to meet him and interview him without him being prepared for the interview. And sometimes the young guys have their agents prepare them, and their answers are scripted. And I just wanted to talk to him without all that prep to determine what kind of person he was. So I stayed in the same hotel where the Russian team was, and I bumped into him accidentally on purpose in the lobby of the hotel.
Right.
Yeah. And introduced myself, told him we've got the first overall pick. Would you like to have a coffee? And he did. And I loved the interview with him. He was just very, very open, speaks his mind, very, very confident in the right way. There's a real magnetism to him that sort of he draws you in, and so I after that had no doubt that this was the guy we were going to take, and he has just changed hockey in Washington D.C. forever.
Yeah, amazing. George, you were blessed to play for two great coaches at Bowling Green. Then your first job in the NHL. Again, I think you're blessed to be in the presence and working alongside Mr. Quinn, Pat Quinn. And I'm just curious, you've been so successful, whether it's been Washington, obviously a cup in Vegas, and 2 appearances in the cup. Is there one individual you have kind of modeled your hockey philosophy in terms of putting together a hockey team?
Well, that would be, there'd be 2 people. It'd be Pat Quinn for sure, in terms of how he was a deep thinker, a very, very smart man, and he had an amazing presence about him, and he was just wonderful to people.
And you survived the cigar smoke.
Yeah, he the first thing he did in the morning was pull his cigar stub out of the ashtray and stick it in his mouth, and he smoked cigars all day long, and yeah, that was something. But he was a great man, and he's an intimidating man, but he had a big heart, and he really the players that played for him loved him. And then there was Herb Brooks, who had a different approach from Pat. He was really, really hard on players. He was incredibly demanding. He was an intimidating guy as well. But playing for him, there was no one better on the bench. He never got lost on the bench. He knew exactly what was going on. If you were playing well, you got to play more. If you weren't playing well, you got to play less. And he was way ahead of a lot of people at that time in terms of the conditioning of athletes and the way that he wanted his team to play in the 19 Olympics and the way he wanted us to play in New York. He was just so far ahead. It was about speed and puck possession and attacking. I've been really lucky to intersect, my life with their lives, to be able to play for guys like that. Yeah.
George, you've had amazing success in Vegas. It's hard to believe that it's 8 years and you've already been to 2 cups. You've won 1. You've had tremendous success. The fan involvement in Vegas is just off the charts. It's incredible. All the hockey fans now in that community. And I'm just wondering, you had a couple of years off between jobs, Washington and Vegas, but you put together a team from scratch. What was the number one priority, the philosophy, when you're starting at ground zero the way you did with Vegas? What was the priority?
My approach was to get the best human talent you can find for every single position in the organization, and I mean on the ice and off the ice. every position in ticketing, sponsorship, accounting, finance, and every position with the equipment managers and our medical team and our players. And and you had to be a low ego and high character. And it sounds simple, but it's not. But that's what drove us. And we hired really highly intelligent young people in analytics and those that speak, a different language in hockey, who brought all of that in and combined with some dyed-in-the-wool hockey people. And we put it all together, and it's just the culture that we have is really extraordinary, and it's allowed us to do the amazing things we've done. And we went to the conference finals 4 times in our first 6 years, and we've been unconventional and really aggressive in acquiring players. Expansion teams are supposed to work through the draft and develop and so on, and we've traded a lot of prospects and draft picks to be good right now. And we said that from day one, and we're still trying to do it.
Your philosophy reminds me so much of Pat Riley, who runs the show in Miami and just had a statue unveiled of him outside of the arena in Los Angeles. His success is amazing, his championships, his contributions to the game, but he goes about putting together a team the same way as you. And I love the fact that whether you are and I thought that this was such a huge part of the cup, a broken stick, and one of your equipment guys was able to get that player his stick in 2 seconds, which I can't remember either prevented a goal or set up a goal. But you've always treated everybody in the organization, I think, the same. We talk about culture. And when you have success, George, I believe that everybody in the organization truly feels that they're part of the reason for that success. And that's a beautiful thing in sports because it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, who's inside your uniform or who's inside your locker room, or it really matters. And so we just really, really emphasize that. We've worked hard in trying to find the right people, and there's lots of talent out there, but unless that person is a better person than he is talented, it's hard to win. So that's just been the emphasis, and we sort of create the culture at the top, but it starts at the bottom and works its way up too. And so we're really proud of it. People talk about culture all the time, but some folks just don't get it because it's easy to talk about, but it's harder to get and really understand that to find these people that always seem to do things the right way.
Before I let you go, I was talking earlier this week about the Stanley Cup and what it means, particularly to those in Canada. And I know that you started at an early age. Was that always just part of your childhood, the dream with you and your buddies, just to always have your name on the Stanley Cup? The drive that must have taken, I know you well enough that I know what it was like for you, but was that just always the dream for most kids playing hockey in Canada at a very early age? Is that what it's all about?
Yeah, I think you could put a picture in front of anyone in Canada starting around 5 years of age, and they're going to know that silver trophy is the Stanley Cup. They're going to know what that is. And it symbolizes something really amazing, and we all know what it is. And I can tell you that of all the things we did when we won the Stanley Cup, one thing I never expected was, I went home and we're all over the place in this business, but there's only one place where you grew up. And so I went home, and we have a gathering of all kinds of friends that you grew up with and played hockey with on the street or in school or at the parks, whatever, in the arenas, or all your relatives, your family, and everything else. And it becomes really what it becomes was a love fest. You know, it's all these people you've known for a lifetime all show up, and that's hard to do sometimes, unless it's a funeral.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that's
so true.
That's
so true. So true.
I remember. Yeah, I remember. And it was, and I never expected that from the Stanley Cup. You know that. You know, you're on it for almost. You know, my name's going to be on the cup for 75 years. You know, until they replace the rings. And it really surprised me that it was all the love that was associated with that, with your organization, with your teammates, seeing all your family, seeing all your old friends. That's really the one thing that really surprised me. And when I was leaving, you know, I drove away from all those people and was getting back to work, and I was feeling a little bit different. I said, geez, what is this? And then you realize, you know, you're homesick.
Yeah.
You know, you just, you know, it was all about the Stanley Cup and family, and it was kind of a neat thing to enjoy that with them.
Well, I really don't know anybody that deserves what happened with you and getting your name on the cup. I mean this, and I've known you now for, gosh, well, we don't want to say how old we are, but it's been a long time. Your work ethic to me is unparalleled from any of my friends, anyone I know. If we couldn't find you at the Broad House, I knew you'd be at the library, and you always had a backpack over your shoulder going to class. You always worked, and after you played hockey with the Rangers and the Devils, you went to law school, and you did a heck of a job with that, and you worked your way right up, and being with Pat and your success. I'm proud of you, my man. I'm proud of you, and I wish you the very best the rest of this year, and thanks so much for coming on. I think it's great, George, for the sport of hockey. I mean, I'm here in Sacramento, and I don't get a lot of calls on hockey here in Sacramento, but this week, George, here we are on a Thursday. I've probably had more calls about hockey and Olympic hockey and what's going on at any other point during my radio career in Sacramento. That says something.
Well, it sure does. And, you know, you're famous for basketball and football, but you know as much about hockey as most hockey guys do. So that must have been fun for you. But I can tell you, you know, the audience, like that was the most watched sporting event before 9 o'clock in the morning in the history of television.
Think about that. Can you imagine if that game were on in the middle of the afternoon, what the ratings would have been?
Oh gosh.
Exactly.
Yeah. It peaked at I think at 26 million.
Yep.
And then in Canada, you know, you had another. I think they had 9 million people.
Yep.
It's not a big country. It's 40 million. It's 9 million are watching the game at, you know, out west. At 5 in the morning. But it's just that was a fantastic game to watch, and it was fantastic performance. And the way these players have handled themselves since, and how patriotic they've been, and how much they love their country.
Yep.
It was great television. It was a great thing to see, and it was, you know, high character people who accomplished a wonderful thing and really made a heck of a lot of people happy.
George,
what they did.
Have a great road trip. So awesome to have you on. We'll talk to you soon. You be good.
Yep. Love to you, my friend.
Love you, Georgie. You're top shelf. See you, buddy. Bye-bye. Good stuff with George McPhee, the president of hockey operations for the Vegas Golden Knights. Wow. That was a heck of a conversation. Love that. Your reaction when we come back right here, the Grant Napear Show, Fox Sports Sacramento.
There's a great American pastime that the entire family can enjoy together, located right outside of Sacramento. The Golden State Shooting Center welcomes you. The Golden State Shooting Center is an 80-acre clay target shooting facility. It's the home of numerous youth sport shooting teams from the region. Over 1,000 high school students from Northern California are on sports shooting teams, and 10 of the Western United States' top shooting teams train at Golden State Shooting Center. New members are being accepted now. For details, visit goldenstateshootingcenter.com.
Are you SAC Alert? Have you signed up to receive emergency alerts via phone, text, email, or app? Well, what are you waiting for? Winter is coming, and that means there is potential for storms and flooding in our county. Don't get caught off guard or left in the cold. Get urgent storm evacuation and shelter information immediately sent directly to your device. Sign up today at sacramento-alert.org. Again, that's sacramento-alert.org. It's free, quick, and easy to do, and can literally be a lifesaver.
Call the good dudes at Gebruds, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Homeowners, if you have an electrical project you need done, then you need the good dudes at Gebruds. Family owned and operated for 30 years, Jay Gebrud and his team are the area's recognized experts for everything electrical, from the very basic like repairs, lighting upgrades, and whole house fans, to the biggies, panel replacements, EV stations, and backup generators. Gebruds does it all and does it right the first time. They're actually the guys their competition recommends. Gebruds, expert, 5-star service, and always transparent, honest prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues. Visit Gebruds.com or call 24/7 and speak with a real live person. Gebruds, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gebruds, G-U-B-R-U-D-S. Gebruds.com.
Maybe it could be said that New Year's resolutions are simply meant to be broken. If, like most people, you've already abandoned your promise to live healthier in 2026, you're not alone. But when it comes to being healthy and happy, it's never too late to hit that reset button and start living your best life. Sacramento Naturopathic Medical Center invites you to schedule a free healthy aging consultation with Dr. Dennis Godby, an accomplished author and expert in the art of aging gracefully. As we get older, things change. A lot of us will experience lower energy levels. Some of us may experience a lack of motivation. And for guys, the onset of middle age can mean a lower libido and oftentimes ED. These things can be caused by low testosterone levels, which can usually be easily treated. Visit gettingbetternow.com today and schedule your free healthy aging consultation with Sacramento Naturopathic Medical Center located in Midtown. Living your best life is something you can get started on today. Visit gettingbetternow.com.
The voice of Sacramento sports is back.
Hear Grant Napear every weekday beginning at 3 right here. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
I hope you enjoyed that interview with George McPhee. I was going to ask him, but we ran out of time if he knows anything about basketball, because there's a team I know that could probably use his philosophy. Rhino, we talk so much about culture, and you know when it's not good more than when you know it's good. Like, you know when it's not good. And unfortunately, here in Sacramento, things are so bad. And everything that George talked about in putting together the hockey team in Vegas, that has been unbelievable, okay? Since 2018, getting to the Stanley Cup Finals their first season as an expansion team, winning it 5 years later. Here they are again in first place, which is where they normally are every year. Culture. He talked about culture. We don't have culture here in this city with this team. And maybe Scott Perry can get there. Maybe. But, like, I wish that he would follow George McPhee's model of putting together a team. And I mean that. I'm very serious about this, because there's a right way of doing it. There are different ways of doing it. There's not just one formula that will work. There are different ways of doing it. But the way that you should not do it is the wrong way. And we've seen that over and over and over and over again here in Sacramento. And to hear George's philosophy about the equipment manager and the trainer and the medical staff and everyone else. Like, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
You're all one team.
Yes.
It's one team, and I think it starts with the fact that it's the National Hockey League, which makes it harder to do in the NBA because it seems like most players, most teams are on that page, but to be going a cut above with that and having somebody like him that's saying as important is what you can do on the ice is what's under the jersey. That's square one. And he said, you know what he said too? He said, I'm not going to go out and get the best players in the
Yep.
NHL. I'm going to get the best players and people at their positions.
Yep.
That's building a puzzle, Grant. That's building a team. I love it.
9 players in the Olympics, Ryan. Think about that. 9. Florida Panthers had the most with 10, then Vegas with 9, and 5 of his players in the gold medal game. 5.
It was really interesting to hear his pause because, if that was him as a player, it's a completely different feeling.
No question about it. No question.
But understandably, to take 4 weeks off in the middle of your season and to have 5 of your guys coming off of an extra 4 weeks of play that is just as intense, if not a little bit more intense, it's incredible. And the fact that they're back on the ice just a couple of days later, good stuff.
How about going over to Europe? He doesn't even remember the country and did not want Alex Ovechkin to be coached when George talked to him for the first time and accidentally, intentionally ran into him. And that was the first conversation with OV. But he wanted to make sure that his conversation was pure without having any interference. That's the way George thinks. He thinks outside the box. He's like that. And I just think it's just phenomenal.
That's why there's not that many George McPhees.
Yeah.
And if he makes a mistake, he'll beat you into shape. He'll get you right back in line.
By the way, if you really want to see what George was like as a player, and by the way, he was very skilled, just Google George McPhee on YouTube or go to YouTube and just Google George McPhee fights. If you want to talk about a tough guy, all right, 5'9", did not weigh a lot. You did not want to mess with George McPhee. I was at Madison Square Garden. I don't know if I've told you the story before. George's first game ever was in the playoffs. He was in the minors his first year in Tulsa. And Tulsa was the minor league team for the Rangers. So he's playing in Tulsa, and he calls me, and he says, Napes, I can't believe it, man. I'm on my way to Philadelphia. I'm like, what? He goes, yep, I'm joining a team in Philly. He made his NHL debut in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs at the Spectrum in Philadelphia against Bobby Clark and the Flyers. I'm like, I've got to watch this game. So back then, the Rangers were on WRTV, Channel 9. To give you an idea, that's similar to what WTBS is, the Superstation, and WGN in Chicago, where the Cubs were on TV all over the country, okay?
Okay.
So we didn't get Channel 9 in Bowling Green. We didn't get WRTV. I called my buddies in Cleveland, my fraternity brothers. I drove 2 hours to Tom Sporch's house, my fraternity brother, Spo. And I watched the game at Spo's house, and watching George play his first ever game in Philly. I drove back to Bowling Green. I was out of school. I was working at the time. Drove back a day later for game 2. George got me a ticket. I said, George, I can't miss your debut at Madison Square Garden. Got my little white Subaru. Drove 10 hours to New York. This is unbelievable. This story is incredible. I go to Madison Square Garden, and I'm standing about 5 feet from the glass as George skates onto the ice for the first time. And I have chills. I'm like, I cannot believe that George McPhee is playing for the Rangers in the playoffs. And that game, I kid you not, he had an impact on the game, and that night become a fan favorite of the New York Rangers. And there was another guy from Bowling Green that also was at the game, a teammate of George's by the name of Peter Wilson. So after the game, the Rangers win, and I think they had 2 days off. We end up going out, and I can't remember how this happened, but we get in the car, my Subaru, me, George, and Pete Wilson, and drive out to my house on Long Island.
Oh, wow.
And my dad can't believe it.
Right.
There comes George McPhee.
Right.
So we hang out at my house for a while. Then we go back into the city, and we pull up in the area where Studio 54 is, the #1 nightclub in America back then. And there was a line literally all the way around the block.
How are you dressed? Are you in bell bottoms?
No, I was not dressed like I am right now, but I wasn't like in a tuxedo.
Okay.
But I was presentable. And the reason for that is I kind of felt that I'd be in the locker room after the game, and I was. So we get to the area where Studio 54 is. I'm not kidding you. George has only played for the Rangers 3 games. We walk up to the door. They recognize George. Boom. Georgie! Get right into Studio 54. And I was just like, wow. I'm not kidding you. And
No,
we were there.
you.
I was there for games 3 and 4. And then, the series that they had against Washington, where I tell you I ended up tending bar.
Yes.
All week or whatever. But I was not going to miss George. I always talk about like being at a game that you can't miss. Like for me, it was the Giants' first Super Bowl. There was no way I was ever going to miss that. Watching the Rangers win the Stanley Cup in 1994, no matter what I had to do, I was going to find out a way to be at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
And had it not been for George, I would have never been in the Garden because I couldn't afford $5,000 for a ticket out on the street. But like somehow, some way, it was just meant to be. George McPhee is truly one of my best friends on earth. And back then, George and I had lived together in the preceding summer at Bowling Green, where I helped him train because he needed someone to clock him with the watch for his sprints. And I ended up working out with him. I had to spot him on the weights. We'd go to the football locker room. We were up early every morning. He put me on this unbelievable diet. I had never been in better shape in my life, and I played lacrosse in college. But after that, and the reason why I didn't get a complete summer, I left in the 3rd week of July when I got a job in Decatur, Illinois, and left George. But like, I was in such great shape. And so there was no way I was going to miss George in his debut at Madison Square Garden. So it's one of the great nights I've ever had. I felt, you know what, it'd probably be the equivalent of watching a son or a daughter in the Olympics. Like the pride that you would have. Like, because when you see the crowd shots of the Olympics and you see the families rejoicing and you see the joy on their faces to watch their son or daughter or grandson or granddaughter.
Doesn't matter the event.
Doesn't even matter. No, it doesn't matter, right? That doesn't matter at all. It's unbelievable to me. Like, and I just will never forget that as long as I live. And I lived with George 2 summers. I think the story I told you about going to Decatur was the 2nd summer. But for 2 years, we lived together to get him ready for hockey season. And he had this big manual. He had this New York Rangers manual that had the training regiment as designed by the New York Rangers trainer.
Oh, really?
Yes. The New York Rangers trainer had George McPhee's personal schedule for workouts that George followed to a T. And George was in such unbelievable shape both the summers. But the 2nd summer, the 1st summer we worked out, but the 2nd summer is when I had to cut it short when I went to Decatur, Illinois. And George had this Buick Riviera, right? White Buick Riviera. And he loved Journey. We used to, the Asia album. We'd be, he'd be driving through Bowling Green, listening to that in his car, and we'd be going to the football stadium to work out, and then he'd go to the track, and he had this big weight vest on that he wore, and he'd be doing all of these sprints and running the stairs at Bowling Green's football stadium, the Mid-American Conference, by the way.
Mac.
Running the stairs with this weighted vest on, and it was great, man. Those were great days in my life.
I think so many of us can relate to the story, just not on that level, Grant. We've all driven 2 hours to see a family member or a best friend do something, but the way that intertwines with your favorite team, the most famous building in the NHL.
I can't even put it in the words.
You know, and George, I'm sure, had a lot of other friends too. I wonder how many made the drive to see his first game on a television at your frat brother's house, right? And
2 hours away from Bowling Green, Bowling Green to Cleveland. And I'll tell you this, I went to almost every game at Madison Square Garden that year in the playoffs and had to drive back for work at WKIQ in Bowling Green or at the ABC TV station in Toledo where I was working part-time. But I believe, and I did stay at George's apartment in New York, which he had on 66th and Columbus Circle. This is unbelievable. His apartment was directly across from Lincoln Center.
Wow.
And it was such a phenomenal area to be in. But the Rangers don't practice in Manhattan. They practice at Rye, New York, where the pub is. And so, those were great memories.
You don't think George noticed that work ethic on your behalf? You don't think that pushed him a little bit, driving back and forth?
George always used to tell me that when I first met him, he's like, Napes, man, you're going to be, he always said I was be announcing professional hockey. He's like, Napes, you're going to be in the NHL, man. He goes, you're going to be in the NHL before me. I'm like, George, stop it.
Yeah.
And because he heard me do Bowling Green hockey on recordings, because they used to run promos on WKIQ of a they would do like a 60-second promo, and they had my calls on there. And he was like, Napes, you're going to be working in the NHL. And as it turned out, and he knows how hard I worked that summer to get my first full-time job in TV.
Right.
Because I was sending out tapes every week, and I was on the phone calling, and I was, I was determined to get my career started in earnest. And he had great belief in me, but I knew that George was going to be a very successful player, which he was. Unfortunately, his career was cut short. He kind of blew out his groin. And in hockey, that is a very difficult muscle to regenerate in terms of like skating, right? Because you're pushing off all the time.
I can't think of a worse
right.
muscle.
And he kept on re-injuring it. So he had a 7-year career with the Rangers, and then he went with the Devils. But I watched him play with the Devils too. I went to almost every playoff game that he played at Madison Square Garden. I think I almost went to every one. And he always got me a ticket. He was like, I was always there. We shared so many amazing memories. And I was at Madison Square Garden for Game 7 in 1994 when the Rangers beat the Canucks. And that was one of the great feelings that I had. But I actually was sad on the other side of my body because George was on Vancouver as the assistant general manager working with Pat Quinn, and they lost. So, I couldn't have lost that night. If the Rangers had lost in Game 7, you know what? George just wins a cup. He gets his name on the cup. So I kind of had mixed emotions, but I was like, and I told George, I go, George, you know how much I want your name on the cup. I go, but he understood. He gets it. He goes, Napes, and he even said, he goes, Napes, I'd be so disappointed if you told me that you wanted the Rangers to lose. I go, yeah, I can't do that. You're
75 years. His name will be on that cup.
75 years. Yep. So I couldn't answer that question the other day, but I remember I told you that as the cup grows on a tier,
right,
they take the bottom plate off and they put it into the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto. So George's name will be in the Hockey Hall of Fame in 73 years from now, and will be there for forever. Forever. But, we go back to culture and sports, right? And I'm going to segue to the Kings here now. when we come back from this commercial break, because I want to talk about the right way to do things and the wrong way to do things, because my show today is what's good about sports and what's bad about sports. And I'll tell you what's good about sports is when you see a guy like Dylan Cardwell, okay, who's not drafted, who ends up playing in a G League, right?
Yeah.
And every time he steps out onto the floor, there's a true purpose because he really hasn't obtained the ultimate dream of playing in the NBA. And so you see a player like Dylan Cardwell, or we had the luxury of watching Keon Ellis, and they have an amazing work ethic and an amazing drive and a different perspective than a lot of the players in the NBA who make $400,000 to $500,000 a game, who have all the money in the world, who are, like Zach LaVine, he's got another year left on his deal at over $50 million. And these guys are literally, Ryan, playing for their basketball lives. And it's work ethic, and you can see it, right? You see Dylan at home trying to get the crowd into it. It means so much to him. He's so excited. See, to me, Rhino, that's the good in sport. That's what I love. That's the good in sport. And then I have to read about Damian Cox of the Toronto Star Tribune, or wherever the hell it's called, the Toronto Sun. That's the bad part about sports.
He got cut from like his 7th grade basketball team.
It's a joke. It's a joke. All right, we'll talk about the Kings. By the way, if you do watch the game tonight, you may need to have a roster in your hand because you may not know of any of the players that are playing. We'll have that story next right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
You've been saying you're going to pay better attention to your home's honeydews. Check one off your list right now by calling Gabrud Services to schedule a 12-point inspection of your home's electrical system. The safe rule of thumb is every 5 years for an inspection. If it's been 5 years or more, call Gabrud's now. A qualified technician will provide a thorough inspection of the electrical system to ensure it's safe or alert you to potential problems. At Gabrud's, electrical work is all we do. We are the area's recognized experts for anything electrical, and our number one priority is ensuring your home and family are safe. You've been saying you'll pay better attention to your home. Stop saying it. Make the call to Gabrud's. Talk with a real person and schedule your 12-point inspection today. Gabrud's, locally owned for more than 30 years. Gubrud's.
Call the good dudes at Gabrud's. Gubrud's. Gabrud's.com.
Okay, we are running a car drive right now to help veterans all across America. So if you have an old car, truck, or van, even a motorcycle or an RV sitting around, you can right now give it away and help the vets. They really need your help. And your car will help support the vets and their families. And guess what? You even get a tax donation. Plus, we'll even come and pick up your car for free. And all you've got to do is pick up your phone right now and make a free call. Now is the perfect time to do something good for the vets. Give back to the vets right now for all they've done for this country. And your old car can really help them. So call the Veterans Car Donation Program right now for free pickup of your vehicle. Help the vets and help your taxes at the same time. Call right now.
800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. That's 800-598-0539.
Grant Napear, Fox Sports Sacramento, along with Rhino. We'll have the post-game show tonight after the Kings and the Mavs. But, you know, when I was talking about Cardwell and Ellis, just two of the players, one that we're still watching, the other one is succeeding off the bench in Cleveland. But there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah, there is. And I think you laid out the perfect side where they're playing for their careers. In Dylan Cardwell's case, he's just a different guy. He is so based with his faith. And he just goes out and he enjoys each moment. And that's what drives him. He's married, and it's almost like the pressure is off of him, yet he's doing great. He's third in the league in rebounding for rookies. No, excuse me, scratch that. As of yesterday, first in the NBA for rookies. And then I was going to flip to you on Keon It must be so interesting when you're a guy like Keon, the way you laid out, yet knowing you're better than some of the guys that are in the game in front of you making the money that you're talking about.
Hey, before I get to the Kings, and I'm going to do that in a moment, I just want to talk about an individual that I'm very, very happy for, and his name is Glenn Kuiper.
Yes.
It was announced that Glenn Kuiper is going to be doing some Giants games this year, including the Giants game coming up, or a preseason game, an exhibition game against the World Baseball Classic team. And then it was announced that he'll be doing 12 to 15 games. And I also want to just talk about, we talk about the sports media, and I was talking about Damian Cox for the paper in Toronto. Well, I'm really bothered by Tim Kawakami and what he has had to say as it relates to the news about Glenn Kuiper. And I don't know Glenn. I've interviewed him before. I don't believe I've ever met him in person, but I have a lot of respect for him. And I thought he did a very nice job with the A's as their television voice. Tim Kawakami, you got to be kidding me. Talking about Kuiper coming back. And I'm reading this from his Twitter page on X. A competent broadcaster who is paid, in capital letters, a competent broadcaster who is paid to be able to speak clearly would likely not have this problem. That just shows me that Tim Kawakami has never been in a broadcast booth, who never has had a microphone in front of him announcing a live sporting event or on camera, getting ready for the beginning of the game. That is an absolutely horrible job by a very well-known sports writer in the Bay Area, Tim Kawakami. You got to be kidding me. We all make mistakes.
Repeat that one more time.
He said, a competent broadcaster who was paid to be able to speak clearly would likely not have this problem. Talking about why Glenn Kuiper lost his job when he was talking about the museum in Kansas City, right?
But
the Negro Baseball League and their great museum to honor that era of baseball, which he and his broadcast partner toured for 4 hours that day before they even went to the game.
Right.
Okay? So, it's unbelievable to me.
Okay. So is Tim defending?
No, he's not defending
No, he
him.
kind of is.
No.
Because listen. If he knew how to speak competently, he's not calling him a racist.
No, he's not doing that.
He's saying it was a mistake. There was a lot of people at the time saying he was a racist for saying that word. So,
okay, well, let me read more.
Okay.
A previous tweet. It is not competent to be unable to get through a reference to the Negro League's Baseball Museum without saying the words incorrectly, in my opinion. I'm not saying Glenn Kuiper can't do his job in all other facets. I'm saying that's a pretty big one. Again, I've been on the air for 40 years. I've made pronunciation mistakes before. It happens. It might happen here in the next 10 minutes. It's unfortunate what happened to Glenn, but you see, the biggest problem with this conversation is that in this country, once you're labeled a racist, that sticks with you forever. All right? And the fact that there are those that are still in 2026 referring to Glenn Kuiper as a racist is despicable. Okay? It is despicable. And for Tim Kawakami, who is very well respected and has been writing about Bay Area sports for a long time, I mean, come on. Come on. Really?
And here's the other ironic thing. Yo, Tim, you get spell check. You have AI, my man. A word's not going to slip because you write it down. The spoken word is much different from the written word.
Well, he had a lot of things to say on this topic, and he responded to a lot of tweets that were attacking him. And I'm not attacking him like a lot of the things I'm reading, but I think that his opinion on this is way, way, way off base. Way off base. All right, let's segue here to the Kings. They've been way off base all year.
Do we have to?
We do have to. We do have to. They lost by 31 last night. There's nobody playing in the game tonight. Russell Westbrook's out. We know Keegan's not playing. Malik Monk, as of a couple of moments ago, was listed as questionable. You know about the rest of the guys, and I'm looking at Dallas and all the players they have out.
Right.
It's a joke. All right, so here's my biggest problem with what's going on in the NBA. And we talk about this. Dallas and Sacramento, all the players that are not playing in this game.
Mm-hmm.
If this was the 82nd game of the year and the winner got into the play-in and the loser's season was over, how many of these players that aren't playing tonight would be playing?
If it was just 2 seasons ago and the Kings had the back-to-back games against Dallas, right at this time of the year, they would be playing. Most of them would be playing outside of Keegan Murray that sprained his ankle the night before, Zach Domas, who had surgery. But maybe some of those surgeries aren't had if the Kings and the Mavericks aren't in this position. Look, Grant, I sat with somebody in the Mavericks front office before the Kings played the Mavericks here at the Golden One Center. Actually, it was a couple of games in advance of that because he was here scouting a little bit. And this was what the Mavericks wanted. The Mavericks wanted to be able to be in this draft because of before the trade for Anthony Davis, their lack of picks moving forward after this draft. So it's not surprising on their side either.
Couple of text messages. Fantastic interview with George. Spot on with your take on Tim K. From Jay. Thank you very much. George and Grant, cranking heat of the moment in the car is priceless. Come on, Ryan, play some Asia for bumper music.
Okay.
We did. You know what? Heat of the moment was our favorite song. And Heat of the Moment is exactly what we did listen to over and over and over again.
Okay. That was part of a movie, correct?
I think so.
Okay. I had never seen that movie. I had never heard that song until last night. That is why that is so ironic. Good job, Bob.
Yes, this is an interesting one. Grant, I just Googled George McPhee. Did he attend Rutgers after Bowling Green? And is Graham McPhee any relation to him? Wow. Graham McPhee is his son. And also a hockey player. I believe he's playing in Europe right now. He's part of the Edmonton Oilers organization. George did attend Rutgers Law School after he got done playing for 7 seasons in NHL. So he went to Bowling Green. Senior year, won the Hobie Baker Award, which is the Heisman Trophy of college hockey. Then from there, he went to play for the Tulsa I think it was the Oilers, the Tulsa Oilers, or I don't even know what the heck their name was, but they were in Tulsa. And then he got called up in April in the playoffs for game 1, first round against Philly. And then he was in the NHL for the rest of his career. And then after he got done playing, he went to Rutgers Law School to get his law degree. And then shortly thereafter, Pat Quinn of the Vancouver Canucks hired him. And the rest is history. Yep. So no one's ever given George anything. He's worked for everything he's had. Everything.
Yep. Hey, Grant, one other thing. If Malik does not play tonight, this is how the Kings will get tagged for tanking.
Yeah. Yeah. Have I taken the first break yet? Or I can't even remember.
Yes,
I've been talking
we've taken one break already.
All right. Well, let's get to Dorian. That's what kind of show it is. I'm so into the show, I'm not even aware of where he took breaks or not because I love this type of flow to a show. I love this.
Hour number 1 is up for the best hour of the show this year.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Well, we'll be replayed at 6 o'clock. So that's good. I'll have to listen to it. All right, let's get to Dorian. Dorian, welcome to the program. How are you?
What's up, Grant? What's up, Rhino? Rhino makes a good point, Grant. That was arguably one of the best hours that I've heard. And, I've been listening since September since you started the show, and that was an amazing interview with George.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And and what was most amazing about that is just the story. I mean, Grant, you've told a lot of stories. I know a lot about your stories with the Kings, and I'm sure there's a lot more that I have not heard about. But for me, that was a top 3 story for me. Just being there's nothing like that kind of like experience of being in college or being just outside of college, that college swagger. For me, I graduated in 2015 from Sacramento State, right? And when Todd Davis, who I played football with, was my football teammate, he was the captain of Super Bowl 50 for the Denver Broncos. I mean, when he won the Super Bowl.
That's amazing.
I mean, that was just incredible, like to be around Todd, like for the majority of my football career. And then when DeAndre Carter, who I played behind, I was obviously third string.
Sure.
Played behind DeAndre Carter and then Austin Dotson. But when DeAndre had his first touchdown, his first 101-yard kickoff return touchdown with the Washington Commanders in 2021. I mean, like, experiences like that, man.
Yep.
Like, I can just imagine how it was for you. I mean, you were around George for a long time, being your fraternity brother and, playing sports at Bowling Green and just doing all those, like, random things that you did in Bowling Green that, like, to be like, wow, man, like, I like me playing football, I knew that was never good enough, but, to live that part of somebody making it to the league, that's just such an incredible experience that you got to do that, and to hang out with him after the game and being with him. I can just imagine how it's just so cool to experience that.
By the way, just for the record, George was not in my fraternity. He wasn't in a fraternity, but you would never know that because he would always be at our parties, including the last party of the year, which was the greatest party that I was at annually, the day of 2,000 beers. And that was the best party of the year at the Fideout House on the campus of Bowling Green, the day of 2,000 beers. And if you invited a guest, they were required to bring a 12-pack of beer to get in. So that 2,000 beers ended up being like 3,000. And the hardest part about that is getting up the next day, normally in the afternoon, and looking outside in front of the fraternity house, and there's 3,000 empty cans of beer, okay, in front of the house, and we all had to go out and clean it up and pick it up and get everything tidy. But yeah, that was the best party of the year, the day of 2,000 beers.
No, 100%. Obviously, Grant, we share Greek life, right? I did Sigma Chi, and I mean, so many parties, man. I mean, we threw it 10:01. 10:01 is basically for the listeners, is if you're not in the Greek life, but make a long story short, is there's a dry week, the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks of rush where the women and men can't drink together.
Oh, wow.
And then once the bidding process is over, everybody gets their bids. Someone's going to go to Sigma Chi, the girls are going to go Alpha Phi, whatever. Everybody can drink together at 10:01.
Wow.
That was the rule at Greek life. And oh my God,
that's crazy,
man. Like people beer bonging, Four Locos. I mean, it's just, house parties were amazing.
You know what? I'll tell you, there's no doubt they're the best in the world. That's why I went to that fraternity when I went out on my lacrosse trip as a senior. But real quickly, so when I was at Bowling Green, if you were not 21 and you went to a bar, if you were 18, 19, or 20, you would get your hand stamped. And that meant you could only drink low beer. There was low beer and regular beer. The low beer had an alcohol content of like 3.2.
Yeah.
And you could not, if you went to a bar, you got your hand stamped. If you ordered a beer, you'd have to show the bartender, and he would only give you a low beer. So but again, that was back in the 77 to 81.
Sure. That's awesome, man. Those are so many good times. But Grant, before I get off the air, I really wanted to ask you. You made a good point, or you made a interesting comment yesterday on the postgame show. Again, if you're listening, Grant and Rhino, they do their postgame shows, and Jerry on If You Don't Like That. So make sure you subscribe, hit the like button. But Grant, you said that in your 32 years of being with the NBA, being with the Kings, that you've never have been a part of a situation like this with Kings. And what I mean by that is, like, did you mean like the Kings being the worst, like in this type of situation with the talent they have, or just like the worst season ever that you've ever, like, in your 32 years of experience?
I think this is the worst season in the history of the Kings. I think it's the worst coaching in the history of the Kings. Now, in all fairness, they've had a lot of bad luck with injuries, so I can't ignore that. And if I did ignore that, that would be, it'd be bad on my part. So I do acknowledge that. But Dorian, I don't like to keep saying this because I'm not one that always talks about me. But I've been right about this team from day one. I've told you every single thing that was going to happen this year, and every single thing has happened with one exception. It's worse than I told you it was going to be. I told you before the season began it would be a disaster. I could never have envisioned it being this much of a disaster.
Yeah, no, totally. It's pretty sad, Grant. And, my last point, I think Mike called the show yesterday, and he lives in Las Vegas. He said he had some kids, some children that live in Sacramento, but he mentioned that since Golden One's inception in 2016, I mean, the Kings have been a terrible home team.
Awful.
I mean, there's only been 2 winning seasons that the Kings have had in the last 10 years at Golden One. And with how beautiful the arena is, how
it's awful.
How it's revived downtown. Like, why can't the Kings win? Why can't they win at home? I don't get it.
I don't either. It's the most puzzling thing. It's very puzzling. Dorian, appreciate you, my man. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Grant.
All right.
See you at Venice next weekend.
Take care. All right, we'll come back. We'll take some more phone calls at 916-779-0929. That's 779-0929 right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
We are the The new year is here, a fresh opportunity to tell people about your products and services so they know who to spend their money with. Fox Sports Radio has a Mount Rushmore of sports talk talent. Patrick, Cowherd, Gottlieb, and Sacramento's own Grant Napear, and they have an audience you can take to the bank. This is Fox Sports General Manager Kurt Bagelman. Sports Talk listeners are a unique, target-rich group of consumers. They're employed, they earn 6-figure incomes, 2/3 own their own homes, and they listen to the radio longer. Let me repeat that. They listen longer, so your commercial message has more opportunity to be heard. It costs nothing to learn how a good strategy and a great schedule could help your business. So call me, 916-779-0914. 916-779-0914. Radio gets results, and we are here to help. Call 916-779-0914.
Do you need new tires, but you've been putting it off? Don't wait any longer. Get the best in tires today and save. Get to Express Tires at 7215 Watt Avenue. They've got sets of Bridgestone and Firestone tires on sale and on site, ready for your car or truck. Get to Express Tires and save big by getting their 60-minute install guarantee. Express Tires, 7215 Watt Avenue, Sacramento. Express Tires, take care of your car or truck and protect your wallet. Express Tires, 7215 Watt Avenue, Sacramento.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
It's Truck Month at Downtown Ford Sacramento. If you've dreamed of a new Ford truck, we've got great news. While they last, qualified Ford truck customers can take home a still brand new 2025 F-150 or a 2025 Super Duty XL at 0% APR, 0 down, and 0 payments for 90 days, plus $1,000 in Ford retail bonus cash on select still brand new 2025 Ford trucks. Some restrictions apply, so visit DowntownFordSacramento.com for details.
Investors, keep listening to learn how to get your free gold report. A currency crisis is upon us. The U.S. dollar has been the world's reserve currency for over 50 years, but that is changing. It's time to protect your retirement. decades of reckless borrowing and spending have critically weakened the dollar. The U.S. has become the world's biggest debtor with over $35 trillion in debt. Plus, the dollar's become weaponized. Countries are dumping it. Investors who wait until it's too late could lose big. There is one safe haven: gold. Diversify your portfolio with a physical asset they can't take away. Call the Reagan Gold Group right now and ask for your free gold guide. Here's our number.
800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. That's 800-941-4184.
(916-779-0929). If you missed the first hour, I would highly encourage you to listen to it at 6 o'clock. We'll replay hour number 1 beginning at 6. George McPhee was on with us for 20 minutes or so, the president of hockey operations for the Vegas Golden Knights. So, you know about the movie Back to the Future, yes? Well, George McPhee, Michael J. Fox walked into the Rangers locker room, big hockey fan, loves hockey, and he's in the Rangers locker room, and he's saying hi to all the guys, and the players on the Rangers that year when Back to the Future came out, his nickname was McFly.
Uh-huh.
And so Michael J. Fox walks up to George, and he goes, "Hi, how are you?" Michael J. Fox. And George goes, "George McFly." And that was quite a scene. I wasn't there for that, but George saying the guys on the team just howled at that one.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I wish camera phones were around back then just to get the picture of the two of them together.
His nickname, his entire career after that with the Rangers was McFly.
That is great.
McFly, what's going on? McFly. Yeah. Yeah.
Could have been McFight.
How about Lynn says, my college years were very boring. Worked full-time at a pizza restaurant, part-time at an accounting firm, and full-time student, but I did crank up Asia commuting between my jobs and school. We always had Asia on in the car. I mean, that's like over and over and over again. The heat of the moment stands out to me like I can just place myself in that car and where we're going. Yep. The good old days. Yeah, that's when I was in tip-top shape, boy. Boy.
Were you a dancer when you went to the club?
I wouldn't dance. Absolutely not.
Come on.
Never. No. Never. No. Never. Never. Absolutely not. I used to make fun of people dancing. I didn't dance.
So what'd you do at the club?
You know, we didn't go. We went to bars at college. We didn't go to clubs.
You were at Studio 54.
Oh, you know what? At Studio 54, you know what I was doing? I was in awe as a 22-year-old at the most famous nightclub in the country. I was thinking John Travolta would be walking in. Saturday Night Fever would start over again. I mean, I was just like, I was in awe of like what I was seeing. So, no, I wasn't dancing. No. Yeah, that was a trip. That was a trip. But, I mean, think about that. George had only played in 3 games, and everyone knew him. They were like, George became a fan favorite literally overnight in New York. They loved him. They absolutely loved him.
That can happen. What was the guy for the Rangers? It was either last season or the season before where he was, what do they call it in hockey, where you come in and you're the enforcer?
Yeah, Rempe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Mike Rempe. Yep. Well, Nick Fotiu was like that. You know that Nick Fotiu, number 22, he was a Golden Gloves boxer in New York, local guy, boxer, New York City guy. Not kidding you. Golden Glove boxer. Played for the Rangers. And you can look him up, Nick Fotiu, Fotiu.
I don't want to have any more nightmares after you
No,
had
you
me
got
look up
you got to
George.
watch Nick Fotiu. Nick Fotiu, boy, could he fight. And he became a icon in New York at the Garden. They loved Nick Fotiu. Loved him. Well, George was a lot more skilled than Nick. Nick Fotiu didn't have the skills that George had. I mean, think about it. George won the Hobie Baker Award his senior year. That's the Heisman of hockey. Right? So, I mean, you don't win
that award without being really good. George was the best player in college hockey that year.
It's incredible. What was Bowling Green ranked that year?
Top 5.
Okay, that makes sense.
They were number 1 for a while during the year, number 2, number 3. George didn't win a national championship at Bowling Green. They made it into, the CCHA tournament. They had some really good success, but they didn't win their first national championship until 1983, and George had left the year before.
So Dorian brought this up. You've talked about your frat. I'm going to play the other side of the coin. What do you say to people that think frats are where you pay to make friends? How would you respond to that?
You pay to make friends?
Yes. You pay to have friends, and you guys are going to party. You got a place to live.
Well, I'm 66 years old, and I've never been asked that question before, and I've never thought of it like that. And it never once entered my mind that I was paying money to have friends. Like, again, I'm talking to you right now, and I'm reflecting back then. That never, ever entered my mind. That's number one. Number two, not to brag, I didn't have to pay anybody to have friends. I always had friends. I had tons of friends in high school. Before I pledged in my freshman year at Bowling Green, I had a lot of friends in the dorm that I lived in. By the way, they were mostly girls. Did I tell you that story?
No, you have not.
Okay. So I'm recruited to go to Bowling Green, and the lacrosse coach had recruited players mostly from Long Island and Baltimore, the two hotbeds of lacrosse. Okay? So my roommate that I was assigned to was from the town next to me in Syosset. His name was Kevin. So anyway, Kevin calls me, and long story short, they picked me up at my house when we went to Bowling Green as the first time as a student. I remember saying goodbye to my father, and I remember getting in the car and driving 10 hours with Kevin, and we get to Bowling Green, and we check into our dorm where all of the freshman lacrosse players were going to stay, okay?
Yeah.
So it's a quad, which means that you have 4 buildings, 4 stories each, with a cafeteria in the middle, all right? So you've got building, like a square, with a circular cafeteria in the middle, 16 total floors. So we get in. So we get in to this one quad, and we go to lunch the first day, and we're like, "Gosh, there's just so many girls here." Well, to make a long story short, our coach had put the lacrosse players in a co-ed dorm, where out of the 16 total floors, 14 were girls and only 2 were guys.
Smart coach.
So it's not a smart coach. It's a very stupid coach, Jim Plant. And Jim, if you're listening, you're an idiot, okay? Here's why it's stupid, okay? We used to go when lunch opened at 11 in the morning and stay there until 2 when it closed, and then be there again at 5 when it opened and stay there until 8 instead of going to class, okay? So we spent 6 hours a day in the cafeteria. So, no, it wasn't a smart move by the coach. It was a stupid move by the coach. And I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to explain to my dad that I failed and flunked out?
I can't imagine.
No, I'm literally sitting there. One day in September, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to tell my dad that I didn't even make it to Thanksgiving. But I'm going to – no, really, I'm not kidding you. That was going through my mind. So 14 floors of girls, 2 floors of guys, and I am not exaggerating. We would hang out in the cafeteria for hours every day.
And this is coming from a guy that does not like to sit down for Thanksgiving dinner.
Well, we were walking around a lot because we were, making sure that we got, we were checking out everything. We were just sitting there, and we were just like, oh my God, like, all right. So here's something else about Bowling Green that I didn't know until I got there. They had an enrollment of 16,000, 12,000 girls, 4,000 guys. 12 out of the 16,000 girls. So
without me getting in trouble. We had a guy in our fraternity house. His nickname was Kong.
Kong.
Because he was big. He had an afro. We called him Kong in reference to King Kong because he always used to wear King Kong shirts. No, he did.
Okay.
No, he always had the whatever. And he's
Kong.
Kong. So we called him Kong. Matter of fact, this is unbelievable. So my junior year, when I'm doing an internship, Glenn, the owner of the radio station, says, "Hey, can you come in and do the afternoon shift? So-and-so is sick." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll come in." So it's a Friday, and the weather's nice. So I tell my fraternity brothers who they're going to be hanging out on the deck, drinking beer. I said, "Guys, you got to turn my radio show on." And Kong goes, "Really?" I go, "Yeah, put on 94.7. You got to turn the radio. You got to turn the radio on." So I get out a song from the Hollies, "He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother." And I go, "Hey, this one goes out to the Fight House in Kong. He ain't heavy, he's my brother." Because Kong weighed about 400 pounds. All right. But even Kong had girlfriends at Bowling Green. You know what I mean? But so I'll never. And when I got back to the fraternity house after my show, Kong, they were just howling. They were like, "Dude, I can't believe you did that. That is so great. We were just dying when you said that. We were all out on the thing listening to you."
That's great.
How about I remember this stuff?
That is so
This
good.
goes out to Kong at the Fight Out House. He ain't heavy. He's my brother. Is that a classic or what?
That is a classic. 100%. And the reason that I asked you the other side of the coin is because I was not in a fraternity, and I've heard people say that, and usually they're the ones that never get into the fraternity parties.
Okay.
But I know the back end. I've seen the brotherhood. I've seen behind the veil. A lot of times the athletes got to go and, hang out and party, and they were good guys. You saw the brotherhood that goes on. So I wanted
the brotherhood's amazing because, just about 2 hours ago, I was on with the group chat with about 15 of my fraternity brothers, and we are still talking back and forth, and we had a reunion in Cleveland about 8 or 9 years ago, and I saw many of those guys for the first time since 81, and we're still in touch today, and there is a brotherhood. There is a true, amazing, lifelong friendships that were made, but money had nothing to do with it. I didn't have to spend money to make friends. But you know what? When you're in the confines of a house and you're with people at events such as social gatherings, meetings, you're eating meals together in the dining room, you're hanging out all the time. I mean, there's people you don't like, but for the most part, at that time of your life where you're learning how to grow up and you experience a lot of things for the first time, there was a great sense of pride in that.
It's family, right?
Yeah, well, I would tell you this. There's a lot of debate right now on whether you should spend the money to go to college or not. There's a big debate in society. Should you go to a trade school or should you go to college, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't trade my 4 years of college for any amount of money. It was the best 4 years of my life. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. And I don't know if I would have ever succeeded in life without being in college on my own for 4 years. What I learned during those 4 years was probably the greatest 4-year period of my life in terms of learning and growing up and everything else. So I wouldn't trade it for the world. Hey, I want to tell you about Village Financial Group. If you're in the market in 2026, buying a home, selling a home, okay, you need to get in touch with Spencer at Village Financial Group. He is experienced, 30 years in the mortgage brokering business. He is a financing specialist. He has access to private money, which will expedite your loan, and you'll close and you'll be happy. The white glove service, boutique experience, that's what you get at Village Financial Group. Call or text Spence at 916-805-4868. That's 916-805-4868. And go on their website, vfgloans.com, and you'll find thousands of listings. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. Don't forget, Grant's Rant is coming up right after the break. We'll take your phone calls. at 916-779-0929. Hope you're having a good afternoon. We're having a good afternoon. Love being here. We'll be on YouTube and X after the Kings and the Mavs. We'll talk about guys we've never heard of before for 30 or 45 minutes. That's coming up later. But for right now, hour 3 straight ahead on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Call the good dudes at Gebroods, Gebroods.
Homeowners, if you have an electrical project you need done, then you need the good dudes at Gebroods. Family owned, operated for 30 years, Jay Gebrood and his team are the area's recognized experts for everything electrical, from the very basic like repairs, lighting upgrades, and whole house fans, to the biggies, panel replacement, EV stations, and backup generators. Gebroods does it all and does it right the first time. They're actually the guys their competition recommends. Gebroods, expert, 5-star service, and always transparent, honest prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues. Visit Gebroods.com or call 24/7 and speak with a real live person. Gebroods, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gebroods, Gebroods, Gebroods.com.
Maybe it could be said that New Year's resolutions are simply meant to be broken. If, like most people, you've already abandoned your promise to live healthier in 2026, you're not alone. But when it comes to being healthy and happy, it's never too late to hit that reset button and start living your best life. Sacramento Naturopathic Medical Center invites you to schedule a free healthy aging consultation with Dr. Dennis Godby, an accomplished author and expert in the art of aging gracefully. As we get older, things change. A lot of us will experience lower energy levels. Some of us may experience a lack of motivation. And for guys, the onset of middle age can mean a lower libido and oftentimes ED. These things can be caused by low testosterone levels, which can usually be safely and easily treated. Visit gettingbetternow.com today and schedule your free healthy aging consult with Sacramento Naturopathic Medical Center located in Midtown. Living your best life is something you can get started on today. Visit gettingbetternow.com.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. When you scan the NFL Combine invite list, one truth jumps off the page. Talent matters in college football, but it's everything. Texas A&M sent a nation-leading 13 prospects to Indianapolis this year. Yet the Aggies bowed out in the first round of the playoffs. Ohio State tied for the third most invites with 11, and their group might be the most top-heavy of anyone. 5 potential first-round picks. On sheer ability, few programs can match the ceiling, but they failed to win the Big Ten and got manhandled by Miami in the playoffs. Meanwhile, the reigning national champion Indiana Hoosiers, well, if everything breaks right, they might have 2 first-round selections. The gap in projected NFL talent is obvious. The trophy case tells a different story. The Combine's all about measurables, but playing on Saturday measures poise, preparation, and performance. Talent may open the door, but a team carries you through it. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Millions of people move every year for all kinds of reasons. When that time comes, it helps to go with a company you can trust. Penske Truck Rental. Their trucks are clean, newer, well-maintained, and you get free unlimited miles on one-way rentals. And there's no fee if you want to change your reservation. They've got over 2,500 locations and live support around the clock. Penske helps you gain ground like no other company can. Go to PenskeTruckRental.com or download the Penske Truck Rental app. 2 words, prostate exam. Relax. Screening starts with a simple finger-free blood test. Around 1 in 8 men in the United States will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime. Prostate cancer can have over a 99% 5-year relative survival rate when caught at a localized or regional stage. If you're 40 or over and have a prostate, Visit relaxitsabloodtest.com to see if a PSA blood test is right for you. Talk to your doctor about screening and the next steps. Sponsored by Novartis.
Tell your friends. Grant's back. Grant Napear is back on the Sacramento airwaves right here. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst. K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
It's time for Grant.
What do you have for me, buddy?
Napes, we're going to keep it on the East Coast. St. John's, the Red Storm last night, coming off of a 13-game winning streak, lost to UConn.
Yep.
72-40. Not the story of the game. Napes, you thought the Kings shot bad last night? St. John only scored 14 points in the second half, Grant. 14 points. They were 2 of 28 shooting, and their last bucket came with 17:28 remaining in the second half.
Not too good. Well, how about the Kings? The game before Jerry Reynolds got anointed head coach had 4 points in the first quarter in L.A. against the Lakers, all on free throws. So how about that?
Yeah,
so that's my only item to rant on.
I thought that there was going to be plenty there.
All right, so I'm going to rant on something I talked about in the 3 o'clock hour. All right? If you're a member of the sports media, not the news media, the sports media, and you're attacking athletes for showing up at the White House or believing a certain way or voting a certain way, and you are trying to get athletes in the hot water by feeling that you can ask them questions at sporting events that they're participating in about how they feel about what's going on in their country, shame on you. Shame on you. And you also don't have the pulse of the majority of people who don't give a damn. All right? Because they're not watching the Olympics because of somebody's political preference. And for you, as a member of the sports media, to go down that road, it is shameful. It is absolutely horrible. And I spent the first hour of the show talking about a columnist in Toronto by the name of Damian Cox. And Damian Cox destroyed the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs in a column in the Toronto paper. Destroyed him. The Toronto Star, longtime sports writer Damian Cox, all right, just taking apart the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs because not only did he win a gold medal, which is fine and dandy, but he went to the White House with his teammates, and he felt that as the captain of the Maple Leafs and the feud. I don't think it's a feud. The disagreements going on between the United States and Canada. Let me tell you something. There's no disagreement going on between the United States and Canada with the people of Canada and the people of the United States. All right? There aren't people that are walking around America going, gee, I don't like Canadians anymore. There aren't people in Canada that are going, gee, I don't like Americans anymore. All right? It's like, grow up, would you please? You're gonna call out Austin Matthews, the captain, and you're then talking about, gee, this may be the beginning of the end for Austin Matthews in Toronto. Let me tell you something. If it is the beginning of the end for Austin Matthews in Toronto because he went to the White House, then Toronto doesn't deserve him. And you as a sports fan should look in the mirror and get a life and acknowledge that you have a problem. This guy just accomplished a dream, a lifelong dream to win a gold medal in the Olympics for his country, which happens to be the United States of America. And you're going to penalize him because he was invited and went to the White House, and you feel that's inappropriate because he's the Toronto Maple Leafs captain? Really? What about the other players of the Canadian teams on Team USA that were at the White House? Is that inappropriate too? It's a bunch of nonsense. What a shame. What a shame that sports, which was such a beautiful moment on Sunday, such a proud moment for this country, and Damian Cox, a longtime sports writer in Toronto, has got to turn it in to a death sentence for the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Shame on him. Shame on him. And that's my rant for today. What am I going to say about St. John's? They're still going to the tournament. They still have a chance to win the conference tournament. They had a bad game. UConn's really good. You know, I listened to Rick Pitino. I thought Rick Pitino, his post-game press conference pretty much said it all. He put all the blame on himself. He didn't put the blame on anybody but himself. And he only took one question, then a second question with a short answer, and basically it said, we'll talk to you later. I didn't have any problem with that. You know, I really didn't. He was very calm. He was not rude. And he just said, hey, I got to do a better job, and that loss is on me, and I've got to reevaluate what I'm doing. And he took full ownership of that. So I'm like fine and dandy. The fact that they, in 20 minutes, only scored 14 points, that's not that shocking to me, to be honest with you. The way college basketball is played, and the fact that there are a lot of players in the sport of college basketball that are not that skilled, relatively speaking. I see a lot of bad college basketball. And it's a three-point shooting, so you go cold from three. I can see you scoring only 14 points in 20 minutes. That doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't. Not in college. It would surprise me in the NBA, but it wouldn't surprise me in college. It doesn't surprise me. And Connecticut's obviously a really good team. So I'm not that surprised. Not that surprised. All right, again, if you want to call the show, 916-779-0929. The Kings and the Mavericks are going to be starting here in about 30 minutes. So we gave you the updates earlier, right, on who's playing and who's not. And that Russell Westbrook is out. And let's hope that he's going to be okay, because he's got a thigh contusion. Good Lord. Right? And I'm still waiting to hear the latest on Malik Monk, whether he's playing. Keegan Murray is not playing. And nobody's playing for Dallas. Cooper Flagg's not playing. Nobody's playing. All right? It's going to be a terrible game tonight. Like, I can't even imagine if you were in Dallas, why you would go to the game. Seriously, why would you go to this game? Nobody's playing. Here we are in February, and it's like you don't even know the players that are going to be on the court. That's bad news. 916-779-0929. You can use that number to call the show or text the show. Happy to have all of you on board. Don't forget hour number one, which Rhino says the best hour maybe I've had since I started on September 2nd. That will be replayed at 6 o'clock. All right, let's get to some phone calls. And we say hello to Steve in Vacaville. Steve, good afternoon.
Hi, Grant. Thanks for taking my call. Very interesting topic with your rant here, and I wanted to kind of nuance it a little bit. And if I heard you, I think you were taking some exception to reporters that were starting to ask political questions of athletes there, and you cited, the Maple Leafs.
Yep, Austin Matthews
going to the White House,
and he didn't ask Austin Matthews a question. He just ripped him to shreds.
Okay, well, I guess the question is, what about the case of Eileen Gu, who's born and raised in the United States, and then goes and plays for a country like China? I mean, do you think it's worth a reporter asking her thoughts? And we know what they are, but I mean, do you think it's worth asking her about that?
I think that's fair game.
I think born and raised in.
I think that's fair game.
I think that's fair game. And we all know why she went. She was paid millions and millions of dollars. So I get that. It's like, why did some of the golfers leave the PGA Tour to go play on the Live Tour? Well, money. So I get that. I think it was very appropriate to ask her those questions. I didn't think that was a political question. You're asking, why are you representing China instead of the United States when you grew up here? And so I think that's a very fair question. I think it's a question that should be asked.
So drilling down into it, what's your take on her doing that? Are you for it?
What kind of society? Well, here's how I feel about it. She didn't violate the rules of the International Olympic Committee. Okay?
Sure.
And we've seen athletes in the past do this. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it, but I didn't lose sleep over it. And when you found out, and it's been reported that she got millions and millions of dollars to go represent China, can you really blame her?
Well, I guess, and again, I don't know, and again, maybe that was part of the contract. I know she's got like 25 million, and it was Chinese companies that were doing it. I having not seen the contract, I don't know if one of the specifications in there was for her to actually.
Well, I know she's not getting millions and millions and millions of dollars by snowboarding for Team USA. I do know that.
Sure. Okay. Well, I guess the question is, and maybe it's semantics in terms of, when you get companies that are going to, back and sponsor these athletes, because a lot of these Olympic athletes are very well heeled.
How's that any different than Bryson DeChambeau? How's that any different than Bryson DeChambeau, John Rahm, Dustin Johnson leaving the PGA Tour to go on the Live Tour that's backed by Saudi Arabia? How's that any different?
Well, the way I see it as being differently, the Olympics is really about countries coming together, right? So
yes.
The common denominator is it's one country in the spirit of sports playing another country. It's
yes.
not really necessarily about individuals playing other individuals. So the big difference is you've got country versus country. And to have an American go, represent, let's face it, they're geopolitical rivals now. I wouldn't say it's to the point of the Soviet Union versus the United States, but it's kind of getting there.
All right, so let me ask you, Steve.
For that reason,
yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish your point. I'm sorry.
No. I guess so. For that reason, it disappoints me.
Okay.
It hurts me.
Okay, this is not the exact same, so it may not be the best comparison, but I did want to ask you the question since you brought it up. Do you have a problem with basketball players in this country that either are former NBA players or players that aren't good enough to play in the NBA that go play in the China basketball leagues?
Well, if they're trying to say for the NBA on American teams, well, let's just say they're trying out for the NBA team to represent us in the represent the United States at the Olympics, and they don't make the team, they can't. Then at that point, I guess, and I don't think it's hypocritical, but from that standpoint, or inconsistent, I don't necessarily have a problem with that, because on some level, people do have a dream to make it into the Olympics, and the history is replete with people that are doing all kinds of sports for other countries that can't make the U.S. team. So, but the difference with her is she's the best of the best.
Yeah, I understand. That's a good point. I didn't lose sleep over it. It didn't personally bother me because I didn't really care. And I didn't get wrapped up into it. But I thought the questions that were asked of her were fair, because I think that you're bringing up the same question that was asked. And I think it's fair for, in that setting, to ask that question. I didn't have a problem with that.
Yeah, but I agree. I where I start to get off the trains when journalists try to get a gotcha question to have these athletes, especially when they're just coming off, usually it's a competition or an event, they're jacked with adrenaline, or they're exhausted. Their minds aren't prepped and ready for the kind of questions they're getting. And I think that's disingenuous for some of these journalists to try to make a scoop or a headline by putting the athletes in that kind of position.
Here's my opinion.
If we're going down that road.
Here's my opinion.
Yeah.
I think if you're at a sporting event and you ask a politically motivated question, I think you should have your credential your credential revoked. I think you should lose your credential. I think if you're at the if you're at the U.S. Open or the Australian Open, which we just saw last month, where players were just completing a tennis match, and this one reporter only asked questions about how do you feel about what's going on politically in America, I think that individual should have their credential revoked. They should not be covering the event because they're not there for the right reason.
100%. And I, as a viewer, I like to immerse myself into sports to forget a lot about what's going on in the world. And
thank you.
You see it in places like Sacramento and other places. I mean, there's so many things, especially in this day and age, that divide people. Sports historically been that, lowest common denominator or the most common denominator that brings people together, regardless of race, religion, creed, or sexual orientation or political, or they're on the political spectrum. And so I guess, and now we're kind of getting into another area, but it bothers me a little bit when associations and sporting organizations are then starting to get political with the slogans they're putting on uniforms or in the back of helmets and things like that. That's a slippery slope as far as I'm concerned. And I would like to see things get back to the point where it's just about the sport. Let's just talk about the sports, for God's sake.
Yeah, good luck with that. I think that ship has sailed. I don't think we're ever getting back to that.
Yeah.
It's a shame. I'm with you.
Grant,
It's a shame. It's terrible. It's just awful. I mean, what we've experienced it to a very high level this week with what's happened with the men's Olympic hockey team, that there are those in the media that are absolutely inflamed to a point of ridicule, where a columnist in a Toronto paper has to completely torch the Toronto legacy of Austin Matthews because he went to the White House with his teammates as he was honored in the Oval Office and at the White House. He has to apologize for that? No, come on. That's insane. I don't know about you. I don't have any idea what your political affiliation is, and I don't care. If I was ever invited to go to the White House, all right, the president of the United States, whomever that may be at the time, that would not factor in any way, shape, or form for me going to the White House. If I got invited because they wanted to bring in NBA announcers that have worked 30 years or more in the league, and I got an invitation to go, I wouldn't go, I don't really like that president, I'm not going. That would not even enter my mind. It would not even enter my mind.
And I think the reason it wouldn't enter your mind, I think we're aligned, the reason it wouldn't enter my mind, because in my mind, it's about respecting the office of the presidency, period. And, and I don't think you just have a litmus test saying, well, if that person doesn't arrive, because regardless of the individual, it's about the office of the presidency. That's why you go to the White House.
I walked on the Air Force One when President Obama was in office. He obviously wasn't on the plane. He was getting ready to get on the plane. He was at Stanford. The plane was at the Moffett Air Force Base, and I had a chance to talk to the captain and the co-pilot and all of the officers and Secret Service people that were on board. I was on it was so amazing that I ended up sitting in the captain's chair in the cockpit. We were in the Oval Office.
Oh, wow.
It was a wow. It was a wow with a capital W.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a wow. We sat in the president's chair at the Oval Office in the sky, and it had President Obama's Air Force jacket hanging over the back of his chair. The only place on the entire plane that we were not taken to was the bathroom in the president's quarters, which is in the nose of the aircraft. We did go into his quote-unquote residence on the aircraft where the beds are, but the only place we could not go was in the personal bathroom. We went into the medical facility on board where they can do surgeries, where the blood is stored. We went into the conference room. Wow. We went into the Oval Office in the air. It was absolutely spectacular. But when we walked up, me, my wife, and my one son and her one son, and we walked up the stairs to go on top of the 747, and this is unbelievable, Steve. The captain on that flight was the same captain that flew President Bush into Afghanistan on the covert mission on Thanksgiving, or excuse me, it wasn't Afghanistan, it was Iraq. All right. I don't know if you remember that, but Air Force One went incognito from Andrews Air Force Base all the way into a dangerous part, and they landed with no lights and no runway lights. And the captain was explaining to us how that mission occurred. And to hear stories like that was unbelievable. But when he said, you can sit in a chair if you want, we're like, we can sit in the captain, we can sit in your chair in the cockpit. He goes, yes. So I sat in there, then my son sat in there, then my stepson. And I was just like, wow, I cannot believe I'm sitting in the captain's chair in Air Force One. That was a rush.
How did you get the clearance to be able to get anywhere near that plane?
I'll tell you why. Because I have a friend that's my umpire friend, and he's very, very good friends with the head purser on Air Force One. And I got to know him because he's a big basketball fan. And whenever we would go and play Washington, I'd get him and his son tickets. And he said, listen, if you ever want to go on Air Force One, I can get you on. So anyway, long story short, I get a call from him. Hey, we're scheduled to be out there in 4 weeks. I'm going to need your ID, the passport of your wife, all your IDs. You've got to send this to this address or this email, and you've got to be vetted first. And then we showed up at Moffett, and we went through a secured area, and then we went out onto the tarmac where we were allowed to take pictures on the stairs with the presidential seal behind us, take pictures on the exterior of the airplane. But then we had to hand our phones over to the Secret Service. They had an SUV at the nose of the airplane. We then gave our phones, and then they wanded us down again. We'd already gone through security, but we got wanded down again. And then we started our tour from the back of the plane, or excuse me, the front of the plane, walking up, not the long steps. They have a portable set of steps, which are actually part of the plane. Those are the stairs we walked up. Yeah, yeah, in the belly. And then we walk the other stairs, and then all of a sudden, we're in a corridor of Air Force One, and he took us to the back where the press sits. And we started there, and then we ended up all the way up top in the cockpit. It was fascinating. Fascinating.
Wow. Have you ever told that story before in the air? Because I've been listening to you for a long time.
I have. It's been a long time. Yeah. Hey, Steve, it's always great hearing from you, buddy.
Treat.
You take care.
All right. Take care, Grant. Thanks for the call.
Thank you. Great talking to you. More to come right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
It's the All Things Legal Show, heard every Saturday morning from 8 to 9. Join your host, Craig Ashton, with an entertaining and eclectic view of all things legal. Saturday mornings from 8 to 9. Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Homeowners, for any electrical project you need done, trust the good dudes at Gabroods. Locally owned, 5-star service experts, always transparent prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues. Call Gabroods or visit Gabroods.com. G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
I got to ask you this question, Ryan.
Has there been a game to date for the Sacramento Kings that you are less interested in than the game they're getting ready to play tonight in Dallas?
It's a really good question. I think there has been one or two. I can't tell you right off the top of my head. I would have to look at the schedule. But yes, there has been where both teams had basically everyone out. And I don't think the team, well, maybe they would have been on par with Dallas. How about you?
No, I have no interest in this game, but I will do the post-game show with you because that's the service we provide over on YouTube and X. But I'm not going to lie. I have no interest in the game at all. There's no reason to watch the game. Malik Monk, by the way, is available. I mean, so I have to ask you this because I asked you on the post-game show last night after the Kings lost by 31 to Houston. I asked if Devin Carter was still on the team. Is Devin Carter going to play tonight without Russell Westbrook?
Has to.
Well, I mean,
you have Malik Monk. Who are your point guards? Malik Monk.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, he has. If he does not play tonight, you might as well just send him to Stockton.
Well, I got good news
Bolster
for you.
their G League. He's starting, huh?
I've got good news for you. No. My good news is there won't be a player on the Kings that takes 14 shots in the first quarter.
No. And you know what? That will be, honestly, as funny as it sounds, you will see a better basketball game tonight with lesser talent on the floor.
You know, I think you make a great point. I think you will too. That's a very good point.
The ball will move.
That's a good point.
They will play as a team. Doesn't mean they're going to play well.
And we're not bashing Russell Westbrook, by the way. We're just speaking the truth. And I always point that out because sometimes you have new listeners and they're like, wow, I can't. We both, and I'm speaking for you, and you have a different perspective than me because you've been around him. And I'm talking about this year as covering the Kings. And I've been around him in the past as a courtside announcer. I have the utmost respect for the man in how he goes about his business and how hard he plays. But he should never have been put on the team. And Doug Christie's use of him is embarrassing. There's no other way to say it. It's embarrassing. And it has made no sense, and it continues to make no sense.
Doug Christie's unwillingness, I think that's the right word, to rein it in, because when you have a player like Russ, that's just how he's wired. What did we say when the Kings brought him in? He's not going to sit at the end of the bench. Russ is going to be Russ, but that's where you have to have the coach like Mike Malone to pull him back when he needs to be pulled back at times, and he just hasn't done that. Doug is not. And Russ, hey, that's who he is. And, you know, he's a great teammate. There are times when we weren't even close to where we thought this season would be at today, and we felt like it was rock bottom.
Yep.
And you didn't have players coming to the podium, or you had rookies coming to the podium, I should say, but then Russ would come to the podium when Russ didn't need to do that. The class is there, the teammates there, but when it comes to that ball getting tossed up, all bets are off. He's going to do what he does, and granted, it doesn't help that teams are playing to bait him.
Of course.
Into doing that.
Of course.
It's the best game plan ever.
What, did he miss his first 6 threes last night before he made one? It's just awful. There's nothing really, other than Max Reynaud and Dylan Cardwell. Where are the positives of this team? And Cardwell's hurt right now, but it's awful. It's terrible. It's been a wasted year for Keegan Murray.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to call it the way it is.
Yeah.
It was a wasted year for Sabonis. Levine doesn't want to be here. DeRozan doesn't want to be here. Can you blame him? I don't blame him. I hope they get out. And again, I don't feel sorry for them. They're making a ton of money. But I understand their feelings. Russell Westbrook doesn't want to be here. I get it. And he can't really go anywhere else right now. I don't think anybody would sign him. It's a joke. It's just such a joke. It really is. There's no other way to say it. It's a joke. And we have an entire fan base that is putting all of their hopes and all of their eggs in the upcoming NBA draft basket. They're putting every single egg in that basket
that the Kings are going to get some superstar in the draft in June. And that's a dangerous way to go.
It's hard not to go that way, though.
Yeah, but
it's where you have to put your eggs. Where else are you going to put them?
Is there a superstar in the draft this year? I mean,
Aaron Torres.
Yeah, he thinks, Ibanza is going to be that guy.
He does. Look, if I had to make a list, and you named two of them, Dylan Cardwell and also Max Reynaud, but if I had to make the other positives, I think you have to put Malik Monk on that list. Although the Kings didn't win a lot of games and the arena wasn't always full, he's spurred that second unit into some of those more fun moments of a very painful season. DeMar DeRozan's been incredibly efficient this year.
He's been incredibly efficient since he walked onto an NBA court 17 years ago.
This is a guy that came into Media Day saying last year, verbatim, was a quote-unquote S show. He had to really decompress, do his process, and he was optimistic again about this year.
Yeah.
Coming off of last year, Grant.
Oh, boy.
He's played every game this season.
That's
and
right.
This season has been
That's
two times the show.
Let me tell you something. Last year was a championship season compared to this year.
Yes, it was. You don't know what you have until it's gone.
Wow.
And that was mediocrity.
It doesn't seem it was that long ago that we were downtown doing our YouTube post-game shows at restaurants during the Kings and the Warriors series when they won 48 games. How about that?
The excitement, fans popping in,
just to say hi. Just great.
Pumped to go to the game.
It was great.
Yeah. And we thought it was here to stay, right?
Yeah, we did.
How can you screw this up?
So frustrating. The fans deserve so much better. We keep on talking about that. The fans of this great community in this area deserve so much better than this clown show. It is. It's a clown show. I mean, it really is. And listen, I hope Scott Perry can get the job done. I'm giving him 3 years. I think he deserves that. But, I'm really sour on these 6 core principles, which I think are just embarrassing for the franchise, that you hang your hat on that and you talk about that's going to be the Sacramento Kings, and Doug Christie on all of his post-game press conferences talking about culture. You want to talk about culture? Go listen to George McPhee when we replay the first hour when he comes on at 6:30. You want to know about culture? You want to learn about culture? You want to learn about what's important? Go listen to George McPhee at 6:30, right?
Yeah.
Now that's culture, and that's a guy that gets it. And why do you think he's won a Stanley Cup and been in several others? And why do you think he's been so successful? Because he understands culture. He understands the right way to do things and the wrong way to do things. He doesn't go and in the Vegas locker room or on the website have 6 nonsense sayings. You know what he does? When he hires an individual, he says to them, here are our standards. This is what we're about, okay? Your job is going to be very important. Your role is going to be looked upon as if you're the best player on our team. Are you in? Are you ready to help us win a Stanley Cup? Well, I'm only a secretary. Let me repeat myself. Are you ready to be dedicated to your job because we're all working for the same common goal? And that is to win the Stanley Cup, right?
Yep.
He doesn't have to sit there and go, well, let's see. Is the person professional? Well, let's put it on a.
Are you a volunteer or a hostage?
Yeah, thank you. Right. Wow.
It's that is to me, okay, the one thing I feel okay with Scott Perry drafting right now, and you guys can point to Nick and Gals.
Yep.
But remember, you weren't in the first round when that draft started, so he got it back into the first round. But it's the tough task of understanding and filling out this roster going forward. And you can only do that by having a firm evaluation on the talent that is currently here and is going to be here, because you need to put the right pieces around them. And I am not talking, Grant, about expensive players.
Yep.
I'm not talking about top talent. You need to find the role guys. And when Scott Perry looked at this roster this summer after Summer League and decided Dennis Schroeder and then Russell Westbrook were the right pieces. Dennis Schroeder, the guy we targeted all along, 2 point guards notorious for being looking for their own shot, ball aggressive. When Domantas Sabonis, who's played through almost everything imaginable, says, I just need a point guard. Get me a point guard. Well, both of those guys were not the point guard that Domantas Sabonis wanted.
By the way, we've talked about who's playing and who's not playing for the Kings. Malik Monk is going to play. Daniel Gafford is out. P.J. Washington is out. Cooper Flagg is out. And you know about Irving and Derek Lively. For the Kings, you know Sabonis is out. You know Murray's out. You know Hunter's out. Also not playing in this game, Keegan Murray, who once again injured his ankle last night in Houston after 9 minutes. And Russell Westbrook, I guess he's got a bump on his thigh, so he's not playing. So,
Kings odds probably went up. I mean that seriously. If I'm Vegas,
yeah, I would think so too.
I think your odds go up with Russ not playing.
Yeah, you know what? I think you're right. I think you're spot on. Good job right there. I think you're right on.
So, Mr. Weird Cat Karin in the YouTube chat. It's like the third or fourth time I've seen this question today, and this will take us to break. Grant, Tiger Woods playing in the Masters?
Yeah, I don't know yet. He did not rule it out. He was on with Jim Nantz of CBS Sports last week and was asked. He said, "Have you ruled out playing in the Masters?" And he answered, "No." So I would say I shouldn't say this. Every time I doubt the guy, he does something great. But if he does play, I don't think there's any way in the world he could make the cut. Hornets lead the Pacers 87-59. 5 minutes left to go in the third. Sixers are leading the Heat in Philly 77-70 with 5 minutes played already in the third quarter. At the half, the Hawks lead the Wizards 76-56. Let me see what Jonathan Kuminga's a heck of a game in the first game against Washington. Let's see what he's got here. All right. 11 points in 16 minutes. So we'll see how that works out for the Hawks. Elsewhere in the NBA tonight, the Spurs are in Brooklyn. They lead the Nets 71-52. Magic on top of the Rockets 49-41. 2 minutes left to go in the first half. Bulls with an early lead on Portland 30-27. 90 seconds left in the first quarter. The Lakers and Suns in Phoenix. Pelicans are in Utah. Boy, that'd be another great game to go to, huh? And the Clippers host the Minnesota Timberwolves. And, of course, the mighty 13-47 Kings with a mighty record of 4-27 on the road are taking on the 21-36 Mavericks, who are 14-16 at home.
And we have our starting lineups in for the Kings. DeMar DeRozan, Precious Achiuwa, Max, Neek, and Grant. Drum roll.
Yes. Mr. Carter.
Devin Carter.
I didn't know he was on the team. I didn't know he was on the team. So Devin Carter's going to start tonight, huh? Is there a reason why he didn't play last night when the Kings lost by 31 points? No, I'm asking, I think, a very fair question. It's not a political question, so I feel as a member of the sports media, I could ask that question. Is there a reason why Devin Carter, when the Kings lost by 31 points and were humiliated, did not get into the game?
None.
Thank you very much.
Actually, maybe they did Devin a respect by not putting him in once that game was out of hand.
No.
Some players say no, not saying Devin's
He's
that
not
guy.
in a position to say no.
I hear you.
Final segment straight ahead. Fox Sports Sacramento.
Maybe it could be said that New Year's resolutions are simply meant to be broken. If, like most people, you've already abandoned your promise to live healthier in 2026, you're not alone. But when it comes to being healthy and happy, it's never too late to hit that reset button and start living your best life. Sacramento Naturopathic Medical Center invites you to schedule a free healthy aging consultation with Dr. Dennis Godby, an accomplished author and expert in the art of aging gracefully. As we get older, things change. A lot of us will experience lower energy levels. Some of us may experience a lack of motivation. And for guys, the onset of middle age can mean a lower libido and oftentimes ED. These things can be caused by low testosterone levels, which can usually be safely and easily treated. Visit gettingbetternow.com today and schedule your free healthy aging consultation with Sacramento Naturopathic Medical Center located in Midtown. Living your best life is something you can get started on today. Visit gettingbetternow.com.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
You've been saying you're going to pay better attention to your home's honeydews. Check one off your list right now by calling Gebrood Services to schedule a 12-point inspection of your home's electrical system. The safe rule of thumb is every 5 years for an inspection. If it's been 5 years or more, call Gebroods now. A qualified technician will provide a thorough inspection of the electrical system to ensure it's safe or alert you to potential problems. At Gebroods, electrical work is all we do. We are the area's recognized experts for anything electrical, and our number one priority is ensuring your home and family are safe. You've been saying you'll pay better attention to your home. Stop saying it. Make the call to Gebroods. Talk with a real person and schedule your 12-point inspection today. Gebroods, locally owned for more than 30 years. G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gebroods. G-U-B-R-U-D-S. Gebroods.com.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
All right, here's your bold prediction of the show. Ryan, my bold prediction is the starting center for the Dallas Mavericks is a player by the name of Marvin Bagley. He will have the over-under is 17.5. You're going over or under?
Points?
Yep.
The Kings have Drew and Max. I'm going to go under.
All right. I'm going to go over. He's been playing very well the last 10 games.
You want my bold prediction?
Yes.
The Kings win by double digits.
I think they're going to win too. Yeah. I think they're going to win too. Hey, say hello to Baki over in Serbia. He and his daughter are on the way to her first karate tournament. You know where the event's being held as they drive through the countryside of Serbia, listening to us in Serbia. They've got us coming right through the airwaves in their car. They're listening to Fox Sports Sacramento. Driving through Serbia, they're going to, I believe it's pronounced Priopoli. Forgive me if I got Vladi's hometown, but I've been there. And that's where it is. And so she has her karate kimono. And in respect and appreciation for Vlade Divac going to his hometown, she's got a Kings logo on her kimono.
Oh, my gosh.
That's pretty special, huh?
They're just different.
I know. Yep.
Like,
they should go. Hey, by the way, real quickly, Baki, you should go to Vlade's museum there. His museum
with all of his basketball memorabilia and everything, with a lot of the former Yugoslavian basketball players and the history of Vladi's life. It's in the museum there. You ought to go check it out. I think your daughter also would love that.
Grant, that's somebody, I know you've had fans come in the studio. They've ended up at games and talked to the team after games. You've got to find a way to hook Baki up with Vlade at least one time.
Well, when Vlade goes to Montenegro, I'll go over and visit him, and I'll have Baki come down for a night. I can't have him come down for more than one night because he'll talk our ears off so much. Vlade will, get in his boat and drive away. Baki, I'm kidding you, right? But, yeah.
Okay. Baki, keep the car between the lanes, dude. Keep it between the lanes right now. You need to make it to that time.
Yeah, considering it's like, 3 in the morning over there, or 4:40, whatever. What is it, 5:45 here? It's probably 3:45 over there. Yeah. He'll tell me what time it is. You can look it up. Let me see here. Let's see what time it is over there. Anyway, I hope you drive safely. What time is it in Belgrade, Serbia? All right, sorry, it's 2:46 in the morning. Not bad. Not bad at all. Really, I'll tell you this. I mean this. If you missed the first hour of the show, stick around at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
You really think it was one of my best hours, huh?
I do.
Wow.
I think I'm not going to say it's the best hour of the show since being here on Fox, but it is in the top 3. It's closest to one that I can think of.
Dorian put it right up there, too.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's the best hour because of how you started, and you were spot on. Loved the audio from Jack Hughes. Listen to that at the start of the first hour as well, as we finish up here. But then with George, just a incredible conversation. You know what it was? It felt like a conversation between two friends that you would never get to be a part of.
Thank you.
And that's pretty cool.
You know what else is pretty cool? You've been spot on about what you said about 15 minutes ago about how good the Kings offense would look. There's 6:23 left in the first quarter. They've already scored. You ready for this? 21 points. And you ready for this? 6 assists, no turnovers.
Yeah.
Who's not playing in this game?
Russell Westbrook.
Really?
Yeah. Do you see the pace too, Grant?
Yes. The ball is going from the backcourt to the front court, and it's being tossed ahead. Did you notice that?
Yep. The spacing is great. Now, the Achilles heel is the size right now. If Dallas had the size, they would pound the ball inside. They don't tonight. So I think this is going to be a good, one of the better watches, Kings fans. This should probably keep going the way it is. So
21-15 already. 6:23 left in the first quarter. Hey, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is all we asked for at the All-Star break.
Yep.
Mix the lineups up.
Yep.
Let us see what these guys can do, and let these guys see what they can do with each other.
Yeah, and again, we understand they're going against a makeshift lineup. We get that, but the Mavericks are going against a makeshift lineup too. So, I mean, it's all even there.
Credit to Doug Christie for not starting Malik Monk. Love Malik. Awesome guy. That was the right move to start Devin Carter. Good job, Doug.
DAS Mechanical. Do you know someone or a veteran in need of a heating or air conditioning unit? If so, got good news for you. DAS Mechanical is giving one away to a needy family. That's right, giving it away with installation. And all you need to do is go to dasmechanical.org, and you can nominate yourself or that individual by, again, going to dasmechanical.org. You just click on the tab that's right at the top, take you right there, and it will take you a minute. Just fill out the form. It's nothing to it. And maybe you will be getting a new heating or air conditioning unit. It's awesome. Nick Delancey, the owner of DAS Mechanical, great job there. It's fabulous. Love it. Really good job. You can be the man or the woman. You can be the person that wins. Again, all you need to do is go to dasmechanical.org. DAS Mechanical.
locally owned, family owned, serving Sacramento and Placer counties for all of your HVAC needs. They are awesome. Just go to dasmechanical.org, nominate somebody or yourself today. That's dasmechanical.org.
Even if you don't win, it's great karma. It's the right thing to do.
Yes.
Nominating a veteran.
Yes. And I'll also be giving away a $100 gift certificate to those that do go to the website. I'll pick one random individual of those that did just that, and they can end up at Bennett's and get a $100 gift card.
Just go to our X pages, because that gift card will get you that New York Prime.
Oh, boy.
That we had the
Wow.
other night. Patrick, one of the OGs, says during the off season we have to have a listen app reunion, probably on the podcast.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting episode for you, Grant.
That would be. Yes, it would.
That would be kind of cool.
Our travel segment from the 209, which airlines have the best economy section for international flights and why? That's a great question. You said Japan Airlines. Japan Airlines is a very good economy class. They're rated very highly because of the pitch. And I think that's very important, especially for someone like me who's 6'2". I would say this about Japan Airlines. I think their premium economy is as good as any premium economy I've ever been in the sky. It is great. I believe it's on par with the first class seats of our domestic airlines here in this country. That's how good their premium economy is. So, like, you're not in business class. You're in between economy and business in premium economy. Japan Airlines is phenomenal. EVA is a very good premium economy. Cathay Pacific has a good premium economy. Emirates has rolled out a new premium economy. It's excellent. Those are some of the good. But, yeah, Japan Airlines is known for a very good economy. It's economy. So, but they are good. They are good.
Hey, Grant, the Kings are picking up 94 feet.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. What's the date today? The 26th of February. It's about time.
They're picking up 94 feet.
Wow. What a concept, huh?
How about that?
Wow. That's not allowed. No kidding. 26-15, by the way, if you're keeping score at home.
These guys just look so much more confident. They're not looking over their shoulder. I just saw Neek confidently step into a triple. As one of the viewers in the chat, M. Nguyen, points out, Max was screaming at Precious to defend his guy, and he was right. Like to see that.
Yeah. By the way, Baki said that he has been to the museum before, but it will be his daughter's first time, and that there's a Lakers fan in the car. So I suggest, Baki, that you pull over right now and have that individual find their own transportation to Vladdy's hometown. I'm disappointed to hear that. Thank you. Thank you. Drive safe. Drive safe. Drive safe.
Oh, you know what, Baki? Lucky for you, we asked Coach Christie about that situation. If it were to ever occur, here's what he said.
That just is unacceptable.
So.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. He's just sent a photo of the museum. I was there when they unveiled it back in 2007, September of 2007. It was a great day. We were there. Greg Popovich was there. And Scott Pollard was there. Glenn Rice was there. All of his, a lot of his teammates that he grew up playing with in formerly Yugoslavia were there. And it's a fabulous, they did a fabulous job there. Fabulous.
Love it.
Yeah.
Kings on just got a 7-0 run broken, but they have 28 points, Grant, with 5 minutes left in the first quarter.
Who's not playing tonight? Who's the guy that's not playing tonight?
Russell Westbrook will not be passing anybody else on the scoring list tonight. Guaranteed.
So with 4:21 left, the Kings already have, let me make sure I got this straight. They already have 30 points and, have not thrown the ball all over the lot. They only have one turnover.
Yeah. Almost doubled up Dallas.
No
Yes.
turnovers.
No turnovers.
Yeah. No. 6 assists, no turnovers. 30-19. Listen to this first hour of the show, which is coming up next. It was really awesome, if I may say so. I'm going to get in the car and I'm going to listen to it. Rhino, we'll see you over on YouTube tonight, probably about 8 o'clock. Hope you can join us a little bit later. My thanks to George McPhee, the president of hockey operations for Vegas. For Rhino and Sacktown, I'm Grant Napear. Thank you so much for listening and being a part of our day, making your day a stop between 3 and 6 here on Fox Sports Sacramento. Bye-bye now.
Just outside of Sacramento is a place where families build friendships that last a lifetime. The Golden State Shooting Center is a clay target shooting facility. It's the home of numerous low high school and youth sport shooting teams. Skeet at